Chapter 984. Zhang Wei's gaze darkened. Ah, young Master Gong, don't be so impatient. Naturally, I haven't forgotten you. Today, he would definitely return the humiliation this brat made him go through before. Yimu Fan angrily scolded him. Gong Su, who let you out here? Gong Su tossed his jacket to the side. F***K. They're already stepping all over our faces and I still have to hide inside? Why don't we just fight? Roll with the punches. Let's see who's really scared of who. Yimu Fan felt very stressed. This guy's personality was like fireworks. Once he was lit, he would explode. Yimu Fan grinded his teeth. Your Yi told you to obediently stay inside and not to come out. Gong Su looked at the mess in the surrounding area and his expression darkened. Even if you mention Yi this time, it's useless. He couldn't let the entire production team get implicated because of him. Gong Su became even more determined to head out and settle things by himself. At that moment, Luo Chun, who had been standing to the side, spoke. Yi cares about you. He's afraid you'll get hurt. Gong Su stopped at the words, he cares about you. Luo Chun took this chance and dragged him back as he continued speaking. Not to mention you're the star. If you get hurt, it'll impact the production of the whole movie. The props and equipment are negligible, but you're the most important here. Do you understand? When Yimu Fan heard that, he wanted to cry. Look how Luo Chun is so understanding. Can't Gong Su change his bad temper? Zhang Wei noticed Gong Su had stopped proceeding forward, so he taunted. Weren't you ferocious when you stole my girl? So what, you're a coward now? You're the coward, Gong Su furiously shouted back. Yimu Fan was afraid Gong Su wouldn't be able to hold back and quickly went to restrain him. Gong Su, just wait a bit. Yi Bai is already bringing people over. Gong Su took a deep breath. The one surnamed Zhang, just you wait and see. Zhang Wei laughed aloud. You're still crazy. You still think of yourself as the Gong family's second young master. Let this old man tell you that even if your old man showed up, he can't protect you today. Gong Su jumped up and shouted back, my old man my ass. I'll tell you a secret. My backing right now is even stronger than my old man. Just you wait. When my boss comes, you're dead. Yimu Fan. This guy? If his old man heard what he just said, he would die of anger. Zhang Wei couldn't stop laughing. Ha ha ha. Oh my. I'm so scared. His lackeys also started to laugh. Second young Master Gong. Who's your boss? He wouldn't be that pretty boy called Yi Bai, would he? Ha 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 ha. Too funny. Zhang Wei sat back down in his chair. Fine, I'll wait. I also want to see what kind of people that strong boss of yours will bring to defeat me. Zhang Wei's expression was only filled with ridicule and no trace of fear. Right at that moment, several employees cried out in delight. He's here. He's here. Yi came. That's great. As long as Yi's here, things will be fine. Following the cheers, a white car parked at the side of the road. Everyone on the production team eagerly looked towards the car, particularly Luo Chen, Gong Su, Dong Zai, and everyone who had been with Yi Bai for so long. To them, Yi Bai could do anything, and there wasn't any problem he couldn't solve. So when they saw Yi Bai's car arriving, everyone let out a sigh of relief. When Zhang Wei witnessed their reactions, his eyes dilated. That so-called Yi Bai was originally part of Dazzling, so he didn't have a full understanding of him but heard rumors claiming that Yi Bai was a bit evil. Was it possible that he could hire an amazing fighter? My darlings have waited so long, but it's still going to take a bit longer for me to arrive, aha. Chapter 985. In the Little Rose Garden. After Yuan sent Jiao Jiao out, she was preparing to continue to accompany Tang Dang. However, she was still worried. Will sending Jiao Jiao alone be an issue? Yuan solemnly asked. The fatty beside her nodded. There is one issue. What? Yuan asked in reply. The fatty lightly coughed. There might be lives lost. People will die? Yuan frowned. She couldn't help but think that even if Jiao Jiao was an amazing fighter, the opposite party was also extraordinary. Song Chang replied, Master, when Jiao Jiao starts fighting, she easily loses control and can't hold back. Heidi tried to ask, oh right. Master, who's the opponent? Supposedly, The leader was a trainer for the provincial Chinese boxing team, and the rest are former members, Yi Wanwan replied. The four went completely silent. This was like a fully leveled account massacring a beginner village. Meanwhile, at the filming location, no one saw Yi Bai, but rather, they saw a young girl getting out of the car. The girl was wearing a pink-made uniform with adorable pigtails. She was a live version of a loli. Everyone waited, thinking that someone else would also come out of the car, but in the end, the little loli was the only who came out. Zhang Wei and his lackeys sized up the little loli. What was going on? Why is it a little girl? She should only be a messenger. There must be someone else following behind. Yimu Fan urgently asked the girl walking forward. Who are you? Where is Yi Bai? Yi Bai Ji told me to come. Jiao Jiao replied. Yimu Fan whispered when he asked, then where is the helper he hired? Jiao Jiao blinked. Do you mean the person who's going to deal with the situation? Yimu Fan nodded. That's right. Gongsu pushed aside Yimu Fan and quickly asked, why are you alone? Where are the boss's people? Are you here to send a message? Hey, aren't you supposed to be dead? Jiao Jiao asked out of curiosity when she saw Gongsu's face. Gongsu? What? Jiao Jiao cocked her head in confusion. Didn't you commit suicide with the eldest Miss Shin? Gongsu finally understood what she was talking about and suddenly felt exasperated. Little girl, that was a TV show. It's not real. How old are you? Shouldn't you be able to tell the difference between television and reality? He felt flattered, though. This was the first time someone had watched his acting so immersively. No, let's get back to serious business. Who are you exactly? Where's the person my Yiji hired to help? Gongsu hurriedly asked. Jiao Jiao replied, if you're asking about the person who's supposed to settle everything, that would be me and no one else. Gongsu, Yimu Fan, Luo Chun. The entire area went silent for a second. You're going to settle everything? You must be teasing, right? Gongsu had wholeheartedly waited for his Yiji to cross a rainbow with thousands of soldiers and horses to save him, but now he was completely shocked with disbelief. Yimu Fan had his hands on his head. Little girl, don't joke anymore. What's really going on? What's the deal with Wanwan? How could she send a little girl who seems underage to such a dangerous place? When Zhang Wei and his lackeys heard their conversation, they were first surprised, then they began to laugh aloud. Ha ha ha. What did the little girl just say? She's going to settle things? Ha ha ha. I'm going to die of laughter. Sending a maid from home to settle things is really a first. Chapter 986. 986. A man with a flower tattoo on his arm laughed loudly. Hey little girl, I'm asking because you're dressed like this, but are you actually a housemaid for Yi Bai? Jiao Jiao proudly nodded. That's right. Ha 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 ha. Damn, it's actually true. Zhang Wei and his lackeys laughed even harder. Zhang Wei and his lackeys weren't the only ones dumbfounded. So were Yimu Fan and the others. This girl is actually Yi Bai's housemaid? How could Yi Ji send you over to help? Gongsu couldn't help but tug on her sleeve. The little loli's expression appeared even more proud. That's because I'm the most amazing. So master chose me. Gongsu. Yimu Fan had a headache and he kept rubbing his temples. He just called Yi Wanwan again and it didn't go through, so he couldn't figure out what exactly was happening. Could it be that the helper Wanwan sent encountered an accident on the road? And what was up with this little girl? Yimu Fan didn't have time to think about it anymore, and instead, he tried to calm things down. Zhang Ji, let's not beat around the bush. What exactly do you want here? Zhang Wei laughed. Haha, weren't you all still acting cocky just now? Didn't you say you were going to get someone to fight me? What, are you terrified now? You want to barter with me? If you want to discuss matters with me, fine. First have Gongsu kneel down, then kowtow to me 3 times and call me grandpa. Gongsu grinded his teeth. F***K. Call you grandpa? More like I'm your grandpa. Come at me. If you have the ability, come fight me. Jiao Jiao nodded seriously at that. That's right. If you have the ability, then go hit him. Gongsu, please, I was simply taunting a bit. You don't need to be so serious. I don't really want to be hit. At that moment, Zhang Wei lost his last shred of patience and his eyes frosted over. Humph, you damn brat. I can tell you're all trying to fool me. This old man will do what you want then. Beat them up. Viciously beat them up. Don't let a single one go. Yes, boss. After receiving orders, a dozen of tall and bulky men began to surround them. Their security guards had already fallen in defeat early on. The remaining people were made up of Dong Zai and several other employees. The director was grasping the broken equipment, and his eyes were reddening from heartbreak. Their surroundings were a complete mess and everyone was scared. Originally, they thought Yi Bai would bring a helper over, but who knew that this kind of misunderstanding would occur? Zhang Wei smiled evilly as he walked step by step towards Gong Su. Ha, you damn brat. Didn't you say you would bear all the responsibility alone? If you have the capability, then don't dodge this. Zhang Wei frequently practiced Sanzhou, and all the muscles and nerves in his body were bulging. He was 190 centimeters tall, and when he stood up, he was like a mountain. Before Gong Su could reply, Jiao Jiao harumphed. Big guy, if you have the capability, then beat him to death. Master said she couldn't let anyone die. The main objective was to protect this blonde-haired person, so she would definitely listen to her master's orders. She needed to hold back, but if the other party did anything to Gong Su, she would strike back. Jiao Jiao then turned to Gong Su and said, "You can relax. I will protect you." Gong Su was about to cry. Is she here to protect me, or here to ruin me? Come on. Hit him. Older sister. I'll call you older sister. Okay? Just don't speak anymore. Damn brat. If you don't want to die, then get lost. You think this old man is playing house with you? Zhang Wei directed his fist towards Gong Su's face. Chapter 987. Oh my God. Gong Su's pupils dilated. It was over. His beautiful face. Isn't this too shameless? The first punch is directed at my face. At that moment, a promise surfaced in Gong Su's mind. He said he would be responsible for his flower-like beauty. If his face was ruined, Yiji definitely wouldn't want him anymore. The moment Zhang Wei made the first move, excitement flashed through Jiao Jiao's eyes, and she let out a cute snicker. Gong Su! Yimu Fan shouted loudly. Luo Chen's expression instantly changed. Everyone appeared panicked and was afraid. If this punch connected, their movie wouldn't be able to finish. Right when Zhang Wei's fist was half a palm away from Gong Su, the sound of flesh colliding reverberated in the next second. The little girl's small open palm could be seen stopping Zhang Wei's fist in midair. How could that be? Zhang Wei's sardonic smile, which was still plastered on his face, stiffened as he stared at his own fist which wouldn't budge. How can this girl be so strong? Zhang Wei wasn't even able to react to the following bang when he was suddenly dragged by his own hand and thrown away like a kite. His whole body flew, and he hit a column hard. He was like a broken doll as he slid down to the ground. Huff! Zhang Wei suddenly puked blood out. Everyone stared wide-eyed at the little lowly in the maid uniform who could throw such a burly man. This was practically a scene from a SFX film. Gong Su's mouth formed an O shape while Yimu Fan rubbed his eyes in disbelief. Cough, 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 cough. It was only when Zhang Wei coughed weakly before his lackeys finally reacted and hurriedly rushed over to Zhang Wei's side. Boss, are you okay? Fuck. What kind of situation is this? A little housemaid actually sent our boss flying with one move. Everyone stared at the little girl with shock on their faces. Never had they imagined that a little girl could be so terrifying. Zhang Wei held his chest, his expression darkening to the extreme. How could I be beaten by a little girl? How could I suffer such humiliation? Computer, capture that damn brat for me. Everyone go. Even if she could fight, she was only one person. Fuck. This bitch. Everyone together. All the lackeys arrogantly shouted and rushed towards Jiao Jiao. Shua, the man with the flower tattoo, sent a punch towards the little lowly. The little lowly lightly reached out and grabbed his elbow. In the next second, the filming location was filled with sounds of bones breaking and one of the columns even collapsed. Yimu Fan watched as one person got beaten up after the other. At first, he was surprised, but now, it was beginning to turn into fear. Gong Su was becoming even more afraid as he watched. Damn, this little girl. No, boss. Don't fight. Don't fight anymore. That's enough. If you keep beating them up, someone's going to die. The other party was incapable of hearing anything. In her current state, her eyes were red with excitement. She was like a horror film character that gave people goosebumps. Chapter 988. 988. There were a total of a dozen people who couldn't fight back at all. Throughout the entire process, it was a one-sided fight where they became sandbags. Everyone in the filming location watched with dumbfounded expressions. No one imagined that a cute and adorable little girl could be so frightening and vicious and could make the hairs on their arms stand on end. This was basically going beyond common sense. At that moment, Zhang Wei's two wrists were being stepped on to pieces. He was being tortured alive. Gong Su shuddered as he held onto Luo Chen. "Mommy, I'm scared." He could only watch as the little loli continued smiling and approached Zhang Wei. "Didn't I already tell you? Master told me to come because I'm the most amazing." Zhang Wei had originally been fiercely putting up a fight, but now, only fear remained and he was writhing around in pain on the floor. The little loli's shadow loomed over Zhang Wei's face. "This isn't right. There's never been a survivor amongst those I've defeated. What?" A murderous intent flickered through her eyes, which convinced Zhang Wei she was telling the truth. What's going on here? How could such a monster appear in Imperial City? Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Please, I'm begging you. It's my fault. I really know it's all my fault. I'll even kneel down. Zhang Wei's entire body was shivering weakly on the floor. A nasty smell appeared. He was actually scared to the point of pissing his pants. Under such murderous pressure, even though he did practice martial arts, he couldn't counter at all. But he was fairly capable in sensing that the situation was abnormal. He could still tell that the other party wasn't average. Zhang Wei knew Yi Bai was sly and thus wouldn't come personally and would likely bring a lot of people over. Never had he imagined that this would be the result. But even if he knew now, it was already too late. Zhang Wei wasn't the only one anxious. Yimu Fan and the others were the same. If someone died, their production team wouldn't be able to get away scot-free. They wanted to stop her, but the little loli was simply too terrifying and no one dared to step forward. As for Zhang Wei's lackeys, they had already fled early on. "Little girl, it's fine. Teaching him a lesson like this is enough." Yimu Fan hurriedly tried to persuade her, but the little loli was completely immersed in her own little world. Master said not to kill anyone. So, let's see. How to leave you half alive." Zhang Wei couldn't take it anymore and tried to get up and run away. The little loli let out a cute laugh and caught up in a flash as the sharp claws on her fingertips targeted Zhang Wei's vital points. "It's all over." Yimu Fan appeared alarmed. Everyone watching went pale with fear when suddenly, a shadow slipped between the little loli and Zhang Wei. Bang! The little loli's hand was stopped by a palm before she could even touch Zhang Wei. Yi Wanwan's voice came from behind. "That's enough, Jiao Jiao." "Oh, Master, you came." Once the little loli saw Yi Wanwan, her eyes glittered and she reverted back to her previous innocent appearance. Yi Wanwan went silent. Luckily, she kept worrying and came. "Didn't I specifically order her not to kill anyone and only settle the situation?" Chapter 989. Everyone let out a sigh of relief once Yi Wanwan appeared and was able to stop the terrifying little loli with one move. Zhang Wei nearly fainted from fright. His forehead was covered in sweat as he looked at Yi Wanwan as though she was his hero. Yi Bai. The little girl was pretty terrifying, but the pretty boy Yi Bai was actually able to block her. "Wah, Yiji is so handsome. Really, really handsome." All the employees at the filming location began to excitedly scream. "Yiji, you finally arrived." Everyone was nearly scared to death. Gong Su passionately rushed over, and as a result, he clumsily tripped on something and let out a cry because he sprained his ankle. Yi Wanwan was speechless and hurried over to help him up. "Be more careful. Can't this child try to be more reliable?" "Yiji, this little girl is really your housemaid?" Gong Su asked with a scared look on his face. "Yi Wanwan. That's right. Gong Su looked like he didn't believe her. That can't be. Are house services this year that terrifying? You can even hire this kind of person? Go get Dong Zai to help you apply some medicine. Yi Wanwan helplessly called Dong Zai over to support him. Afterwards, Yi Wanwan asked Yi Mu Fan, "Did anyone get hurt?" Yi Mu Fan replied back, "Other than the equipment that was broken in Gong Su, no one else got hurt." Yi Wanwan, "All right. So no one got hurt on their side besides Gong Su, who sprained his ankle on his own." Zhao Jiao's mission was completed with acceptable results, even though she did go overboard. Yi Wanwan observed the area that was filled with wailing, pitiful lackeys, and Zhang Wei, who had 2 broken wrists and peed himself. She rubbed her temples because of the headache she was having right now. "Zhao Jiao, didn't I tell you to only stabilize the situation?" The current situation was stabilized into a wreck. Zhao Jiao? This terrifying girl who could scare people to death is called Zhao Jiao? When everyone heard this name, their expressions became hard to describe. Zhao Jiao delicately murmured, "Master, I was preparing to leave him half alive." Yi Wanwan, half alive. Really? He's going to be half alive. Yi Wanwan helplessly glanced at Zhang Wei. "Zhang Ji, I'm sorry to have offended you like this," Yi Wanwan said as she reached out, wanting to help him get up. In the end, Zhang Wei acted as though he saw a ghost and crawled away. Don't come over here." Yi Wanwan rubbed her nose, and with a warm expression, she said, "Zhang Ji, I'm a businessman. If others don't wrong me, then I won't wrong them. Just now, my underling was a bit too heavy-handed, so I apologize." All his lackeys, even the employees of the production team, were all speechless. A bit too heavy-handed. This is called a bit too heavy-handed? Sorry, Boss Yi. It was me who failed to recognize Mount Tai. I'm sorry I offended you. You're the bigger man, so please forgive me. I actually didn't want to give you any trouble. It was Kai Yongsheng, that brat, who was stirring up trouble. Zhang Wei directly sold out Kai Yongsheng. Zhang Wei's gaze was cautious. If Yi Bai didn't have some strong power backing him, he couldn't possibly have hired such a formidable fighter. This Yi Bai looked helpless and weak, but in reality, he wasn't so simple. That one move which he used to block the little lowly appeared calm like the wind, but only he knew just how terrifying it really was. If he was the one who countered that move, he would have instantly died from it. Chapter 990. Ever since Yi Wanwan began to train seriously to recover her abilities, her fighting skills had been improving by the day at such a fast pace that it was unspeakable. However, her practical use of her skills was a bit unstable. Under intimidation from the little lowly, Zhang Wei brought along all his lackeys to apologize to her and swore never to cause any more trouble. Afterwards, they cleaned up the entire filming location and respectfully promised to pay for all damages. Boss Yi, you can relax. I will pay for everything. Tomorrow, I'll send someone over. If you want to use any of my properties, you can use them for free." Zhang Wei stuttered out an apology while his lackeys huddled behind him. Yi Wanwan smiled. "Thank you then. No problem. As long as boss is satisfied. Then can we leave?" Zhang Wei sputtered. "Of course." Zhang Wei let out a sigh of relief as though he survived a disaster. He glanced cautiously at the little lowly. "Might I ask for your great name and which martial arts you practice?" Based on her skill, she must either be from a top dojo or from a martial arts family. But she used a vicious style of fighting, so she might even be a national-level soldier. To be able to send this kind of person to settle a problem, simply having money wasn't enough. Zhao Jiao stood by Yi Wanwan. "I don't come from any stream of martial arts. I belong to Master." "Huh?" Zhang Wei appeared awkward and didn't dare to pry further. In a hidden corner, an assistant who was sent by Kai Yongsheng had watched the entire show from beginning to end, and now Zhang Wei and his lackeys were leaving. The assistant then quickly left in their car. Since the conflict had come to an end, the employees at the filming location also began to leave. Yi Mu Fan pulled Yi Wanwan to the side. "Wanwan, who exactly is that girl?" There were too many people earlier, so he wasn't able to ask, but now he no longer held back. "Oh, She's actually someone my boyfriend hired to assist me. He said she's amazing at fighting. Yi Wanwan decided to pass the blame along to somebody else. Yimu Fan was speechless and he frowned. Yi Wanwan said before that her boyfriend worked at C Corporation, so could she have some connection to the C family and Yi Wanwan hired the girl through them? Also, what was up with Wanwan's fighting skills? He clearly saw that Wanwan stopped the girl's attack. How are you able to fight so well? Yimu Fan's gaze was a bit complicated. Yi Wanwan didn't sense anything was amiss and replied, I've always been able to fight really well. Did you forget when we were young that Daddy hired a teacher for us? I learned quickly, and even the teacher praised me for my potential. It was just that I was lazy and didn't want to exercise, so I didn't improve. But in the past half year, I felt like I should be able to fight a bit, so I've been training. Yimu Fan went silent and a heartache flickered through his chest. He tousled the girl's hair. Guji is so useless. If he was strong enough to protect his little sister, she wouldn't need to suffer or work so hard. Yimu Fan had already defied the heavens by changing from his former rich playboy self to his current self. Yi Wanwan spent a lot of time with the C family and had to worry about school exams and homework. Ever since she established the company, the responsibility of management and miscellaneous tasks all went to Yimu Fan, and he was still able to complete them so well. Chapter 991. The most important thing wasn't what he accomplished, but the fact that he worked hard when he decided to do something. This was the change she noticed in Yimu Fan. Yi Wanwan laughed as she replied, That's not true. Guji is the world's best Guji. Wanwan. Yimu Fan's eyes became wet and he swore in his heart that he would work hard to get back everything that originally belonged to them. Late at night, at Kai Yongsheng's personal villa, Kai Yongsheng had a fresh female artist in his arms as he excitedly awaited good news. Finally, his phone began to ring. His assistant was calling. Kai Yongsheng took a sip of red wine before he spoke. How are things? Yibai, Gong Su, and those other brats must have gotten beat up until they peed themselves. The phone went silent for a while before the assistant replied, Director Kai, that? An incident might have happened. Kai Yongsheng absent-mindedly said, Incident? What kind of incident? The assistant. How should I reply? Should I say that the ones who were beaten up until they peed themselves were old Three Zhang and his lackeys? What is it? Talk. Kai Yongsheng impatiently rushed. The assistant could only tell the truth. Yibai was already prepared and had a helper settle things. Old Three Zhang and his people were all beaten up. Kai Yongsheng was shocked. What did you say? But Zhang Ji went personally. He did go personally. Old Three Zhang was beaten up until he broke several limbs and nearly died. He also peed his pants from fear, the assistant replied. Bullshit. How's that possible? When it all happened, I was standing at the side. I saw everything with my own eyes. Did Yibai manage to get Liang Xian Dong to help? Kai Yongsheng asked cautiously. No, it wasn't Liang Xian Dong's people. He only sent a woman. But this woman was extremely vicious and single-handedly defeated everyone old Three Zhang brought with him. My guess is that her backing isn't weak. Yibai clearly made preparations early on, the assistant said as he wiped his sweat. Cough. He knew Yibai wasn't a good person, so how could he have overlooked this? If he knew earlier that things would end like this, he wouldn't have used this kind of tactic. Kai Yongsheng's temper exploded, and he threw the glass of wine in his hand. Bastard! What do you mean his backing isn't weak? A bunch of guys can't even defeat a single woman? Old Three Zhang must be getting old. The assistant personally witnessed everything and was rather frightened, so he couldn't help but say, Director Kai, why don't you just let it go? No matter how Yibai hired such a powerful fighter, pressing on like this isn't the solution. Yibai only knows a few tricks and isn't even worth mentioning. If he was really capable, why didn't he go find a more impressive backer after leaving Global Entertainment? After he left Global, he actually got together with that rich playboy who was kicked out from the Yi family. Who doesn't know that the true young master of the Yi family is now Yi Shaoan? In comparison, Yimu Fan is a fool who only knows how to dream. Director Kai, even if you don't make a move, that Yibai still won't be able to succeed. Kai Yongsheng was filled with anger because things hadn't gone as he hoped. When he heard this, his expression was still ugly. Humph, if violence doesn't work, we'll do this more civilly. Han Xianyu and Luo Chun both didn't have any flaws, but Gongsu had plenty that he could easily use. Kai Yongsheng, tomorrow, contact Lazy's office. Your goal is to diss Gongsu. I don't believe. The assistant could only reply, yes, Director Kai. Chapter 992. 992. After returning to the Little Rose Garden, Yuanwan called over the group of 5 for a small meeting. Yuanwan specifically told them that in China, she was a businessman who needed to adhere to the law. She couldn't fight and kill so easily. Yuanwan only relaxed once all 5 of them wrote it down in their little notepads. The sound of a sports car came from outside the door. Si Han had finished his social function and returned home. Due to Tang Tang, Yuanwan talked to Si Han. He agreed to try to come to the Little Rose Garden every night, so they could pretend to be a family of 3. Thankfully, Si Han was willing to accommodate her. Ajio, you're back. Yuanwan looked at Su Yi, who was behind Si Han. He was holding several bags in his arms. Yuanwan's gaze swept over them and noticed there's some flowery toys. Oh, where did these come from? Xie Zhiji gifted these, Si Han replied. Yuanwan was both surprised and speechless. It was actually Xie Zhiji. I never imagined that megastar Xie was so considerate. Sui wanted to say that only a small portion was from megastar, while the rest were picked out by the 9th master, but he ended up not speaking. Si Han saw that it was late yet Yuanwan was still awake. So he asked, why aren't you sleeping yet? Yuanwan shook her head. Someone caused some trouble at the filming location, but it's nothing. Everything's been settled. Yuanwan decided to simplify her story. Afterwards, Yuanwan wrapped her arm around Si Han's arm and said, hey, there's some people in this house that need rehabilitation. They're so impulsive and aggressive when they handle matters. How are they not able to stop once they start fighting? Si Han looked at her with an expression that was hard to read. Yuanwan blinked. What? Did I say something wrong? Si Han, it's nothing. As long as you remember what you just said, then it's fine. Yuanwan was confused. Why did he say something so strange? Where's Tang Tang? Si Han casually asked. Already sleeping. Yuanwan replied as she pulled Si Han over to sit on the sofa. Ajio, I have something to discuss with you. Si Han. What is it? Yuanwan blinked innocently then said, we're both so busy with work. Don't you feel like Tang Tang is too lonely all alone at home? Si Han glanced at her. So, so let's let Tang Tang get a pet. Pets can cultivate the love in children and can keep Tang Tang company. Isn't that great? Yuanwan excitedly suggested. Si Han replied, what kind of pet do you want? I'll have Sui go buy it for you. Yuanwan waved her hands to indicate no. No need, no need. It doesn't need to be that troublesome. Don't we have a live animal? Si Han went silent and frowned as he stared at her. Yuanwan instantly continued, we have Great White. How about you directly bring Great White over to accompany Tang Tang? Tang Tang will definitely love it. Si Han. Yuanwan excitedly said, Great White is so cute and obedient and docile. How great would it be if he could accompany Tang Tang? Isn't my idea amazing? Su Yi, who was quietly organizing things. You actually want Si Lute as a pet? Miss Wanwan, do you even understand what the word docile means? He felt that 9th master definitely wouldn't agree to a request that ridiculous. Si Han. Su Yi, go prepare Great White. Su Yi, yes. Chapter 993. The next morning, Gongsu was in the headlines again. The popular topic that was trending was hashtag Gongsu's repertoire of bad acting hashtag. It was obvious that this was another planned attack to diss Gongsu as well as a chance to drag down Yuanwan's movie, A Life and Death Struggle, by predicting it would be a wreck because of Gongsu. Ever since Yuanwan revealed Gongsu's true personality, no one was able to falsify rumors about him anymore. As for his acting, until now, even Yuanwan was incapable of helping him. Han Xianyu was an idol with abilities and was practically perfect. Luo Qin, who debuted at the same time as him, had acted in director Song Jin's Terrifying Dragon and again in Terrifying Dragon 2, which proved he had real talent. Only Gong-soo wasn't able to escape his title of Flower Vase. Even though the majority of celebrities lived off their visual appearances and didn't have any real skill, Gong-soo's acting was way too off and he stood out too much. If one had to be honest, his acting was so bad that anyone who watched would remember. His acting was so bad that no one in the industry could compete with him for worst acting. If one mentioned bad acting, everyone would first think of Gong-soo. Yu Wanwan swiped through the forums while watching the trending video that Jiao Jiao was secretly watching. It was a video which listed and showed clips of all Gong-soo's bad dramas. This child. Aren't her tastes too unique? She especially loved really tragic and dramatic scenes. As a result, Gong-soo's scenes became her favorite. Besides the trending disses towards Gong-soo, there was also a post from Gong-soo's Weibo which he uploaded not too long ago. Damn, you all only know how to diss me all day. My acting is bad? That's because I don't care. If I become serious, I would even be scared of myself. Isn't it just acting? Isn't it just ability? Then with my next film, I'll win the Golden Orchid for Best Actor and throw the award in your faces. If I can't do it, I'll live stream eating shit with Luo-chan. This post is my oath, and I'll never delete it. This Weibo post gave Yu Wanwan a massive headache. Gong-soo, this child, always has to make such a commotion. The main point is if you're going eat shit, fine. What are you doing dragging Luo-chan into this? When Gong-soo posted this, the comments section became flooded instantly. Damn ha! What did I just see? There must be a problem with Weibo. Gong-soo actually claims he'll win Best Actor. This is the biggest joke I've heard all year. Gong-soo must have gone mad, right? How could he say this kind of thing? Shouldn't he know best how bad his acting is? Isn't the main point why Gong-soo has to drag Luo-chan into eating shit with him? Ha ha ha, even though he's bluffing too much, why do I suddenly think Gong-soo is actually kind of cute? It was good that Gong-soo's relationship with his fans wasn't bad. Besides a few mean comments, the majority was kind-hearted teasing. Even Luo-chan's and Gong-soo CP fans were joining in on the fun which controlled the overall atmosphere. Yu Wanwan had just finished flipping through the forums when her phone rang. Dongzai was calling her. "Yi-ji, it's over." Gong-soo made a mess of things again. Yu Wanwan exhaled. "I know. I've already seen it. I'm sorry, Yi-ji. I couldn't stop him. Yi-ji, what do we do now?" Suji would rather die than delete that post. Will he really need to live stream eating? Yu Wanwan laughed. Don't be so pessimistic. Who knows, Gong-soo might really be able to win Best Actor. Dongzai sounded as though he wanted to cry. E.g., don't joke anymore. Shouldn't I know best what kind of acting my artist is capable of? Chapter 994. 994 Yi-ji. What exactly should we do? How do we respond to the public? Dongzai helplessly awaited orders. Yu Wanwan replied, "You don't need to make any response. Even if you respond, it'll be of no use. Dissing Gong-soo's acting is something that happened in a day or two. There's only one solution for this matter." Dongzai, what is it? Yu Wanwan's eyes glowed as she replied, face slapping them with talent. Yu Wanwan paused before continuing. Have Gong-soo focus on acting. Everything else that's going on doesn't matter. As long as Gong-soo's acting was acknowledged in the future, all the hazing and disses from today would only make Gong-soo even more famous later on. Dongzai didn't have any hope, but after thinking about it, this was all they could do. All right, I understand. Si-han was watching from behind, and when he saw the girl glowing with self-confidence, his expression softened. When Yu Wanwan heard footsteps coming from behind her, she turned to look over. "Ajio, have you seen Tang Tang?" Si-han thought about it.
No.
Yu Wanwan shook her head in thought. That's weird. Where did that child go so early in the morning? Yu Wanwan and Si-han headed towards the dining room together. Once they entered, there was a sudden bang. Rose petals showered down from above and balloons of all colors filled the room and flew towards the ceiling. It was so pretty. The dining room was filled with flower petals and colorful balloons. The scene was like a dream. What's going on? Yu Wanwan jumped. not understanding what happened. Si Han curiously glanced around the dining room. The couple then saw Tang Tang walking towards Yuanwan with a bouquet of roses that was bigger than him. Mommy! The little fella was wearing a little suit, and the bouquet of roses nearly covered his entire face. Yuanwan felt so surprised. Tang Tang, what is this? The little fella seemed a bit embarrassed as he held the bouquet above his head and said, "This is for you, Mommy." Yuanwan was stunned, then accepted the big bouquet. She was both surprised and happy. "Thank you, baby. This was all prepared by you?" The little fella nodded, seemingly nervous. "Yeah. All the Gujies and Jiejies helped me prepare the balloons and flower petals while I had Uncle bring me roses from home. Uncle said Mommy likes roses the most. Does Mommy like it?" "Of course I love it," Yuanwan replied without any hesitation. "Wow, isn't he too sensible? He actually prepared a surprise for Mommy. This time, I'm truly surprised. Such a warm-hearted son. Even if I search with a lantern, I wouldn't be able to find one like him. Is it okay for me to take advantage of him like this? But it's not like I'm treating him badly either." Afterwards, Yuanwan thought about it. But is today a special occasion? The little fella replied back seriously, "Yes, today's a really special day." "It's a special day?" But after thinking it over, Yuanwan still couldn't come up with any particular holiday. Tang Tang said, "Today is the 7th day since I met Mommy. Every day that Mommy and Tang Tang spends together is a special day." After Yuanwan heard this, she felt so moved and bent down to hold the little fella in her arms. "Thank you, baby. Mommy likes you the most." The little fella's eyes glittered. Tang Tang also likes Mommy the most. Si Han was standing behind the mother-son pair. Chapter 995, How does it feel to watch another male woo your own wife with flowers and a confession? How does it feel to watch another male woo your own wife with flowers and a confession? The emotions Si Han was currently experiencing were difficult to express in words. The little fella leaned against his mommy's shoulder. "Mommy, will Mommy leave Tang Tang in the future?" Yuanwan tousled the little fella's hair. "Of course I won't." Yuanwan suddenly felt emotional. She felt a bit anxious because none of this truly belonged to her. There was going to be a day when Tang Tang found his birth mother and wouldn't treat her like this anymore. "Oh, I can just hide him and raise him myself?" Yuanwan even considered that possibility. It was still morning, and the family of 3 sat together at the breakfast table. Yuanwan propped up her chin with both hands as she stared at the father-son pair with satisfaction. "Sai, what more could I ask for when I have such a perfect life?" Yuanwan thought this as she picked up a poached egg. She was about to put it on someone's plate when she met 2 familiar gazes. Yuanwan's chopsticks froze in midair. Because she wanted to be able to live, Yuanwan used her left hand to pick up another poached egg and placed both eggs simultaneously with both her hands onto the plates of the father-son pair. After receiving the poached eggs, their piercing gazes retreated. Yuanwan secretly wiped her sweat. Aside from one thing, everything else is perfect. That one thing being how the father-son relationship seemed strained and competitive. "Oh right, Tang Tang. Because Mommy and Daddy are always working and don't have time to accompany you, Mommy found an adorable pet for you to play with," Yuanwan said. Tang Tang naturally hoped to stay by his mommy's side, but didn't want to give her any trouble. Although the little fella wasn't interested in dogs or cats or even bunnies, he still obediently nodded. "Thank you, Mommy. Such a good child." Yuanwan tousled his hair. "I'll introduce you to him later. You will definitely love him." As she said this, footsteps came from the door. "Miss Wanwan." Sui had only received his orders last night, but he rushed over in the morning. "Housekeeper Sue, you came. Where's Great White?" Yi Wanwan immediately peered behind Sui. Sui lightly coughed, then hesitantly glanced over to his master for help. Originally, he wanted to say something to his master but decided against it. It was useless to ask his master. Thus, Sui directly asked Yi Wanwan, "Miss Wanwan, Are you absolutely sure you want to bring Great White over? Won't he scare the little young master? Yi Wanwan instantly frowned. How could he? Great White is so cute. Quickly bring Great White over. I really miss him. Sui, all right, then I'll go. Say, why do I feel like Miss Wanwan is the one who wants to play with Great White more than the young master? Tang Tang tilted his head in confusion. Great White. Yi Wanwan nodded. Yes, that's his name. Is it a bunny? Tang Tang asked. The mother-son pair were still talking when Sui returned, but this time, a large snowy white animal was following behind him. Roar dashed, the white tiger let out a low roar as it slowly walked in. Chapter 996. The white tiger's fur glistened under the light. Its physique and aura differed from tigers raised in zoos and circuses. This tiger was a vicious beast and was a bloodthirsty killer. However, a pink bow tie was tied around the great white tiger, which completely ruined its image. This was such a familiar bow tie, such a familiar scene. Sui stood to the side with dark bags under his eyes as he wiped his sweat. In order to complete the task, he searched all night on the mountain for the tiger, then he had to risk his life just to put the bow tie back on it. Once Tang Tang saw the big white tiger, his original hesitation turned into anticipation and astonishment. He never imagined that the pet his mommy talked about would be a tiger. Tang Tang, why don't you greet Great White? Don't be scared. Great White is super cute and obedient. Yi Wanwan said. In her previous life, she was always scared of Great White because Great White really was terrifying. She was afraid she would be eaten, but eventually discovered that Great White was exactly the same as Si Han. They both only appeared terrifying on the surface. Sui was speechless. Don't lie to children. Roar, just as Sui thought this, a loud roar erupted beside him. In the kitchen, a fatty sneezed. Damn, this tiger must have been raised in the wild. Tangbin clicked her tongue and said, the Bengal white tiger is one of the strongest types, and also one of the most vicious tigers. Tang Tang nodded and got down from his chair to head towards the big white tiger, but when he got down, he went too fast and accidentally twisted his leg. Tang Tang, are you okay? Yi Wanwan frantically asked. Mommy, I'm fine. The little fella managed to reach the big white tiger. Nice to meet you. I'm Tang Tang. Roar. The white tiger roared again. Its pale blue eyes were laced with caution and curiosity as it sized up the little milk bun. Tang Tang stood in front of the big white tiger and tilted his head as he observed the pink bow tie before he pointed at it. Is this uncomfortable? Roar! The big white tiger howled lowly. Thus, the little fella reached out and pulled off the bow tie. Sui appeared very afraid as he witnessed that. Is that better? The little fella asked. Roar! This time, the volume of the white tiger's howl had lowered by several degrees. Tang Tang revealed a big smile. Great White, your voice is really nice to hear. Sui, nice to hear? This child was so similar to Miss Wanwan in this respect. Mommy, can I take Great White to the garden to play? Tang Tang glanced enthusiastically at Yi Wanwan. Of course you can. Go quickly. Seeing that Tang Tang liked his new friend, Yi Wanwan didn't worry anymore. Tang Tang asked Great White for his opinion. Great White, how about we go to the garden? Great White roared lowly back in reply. It went to stand beside Tang Tang and suddenly nudged his leg. Great White, what is it? Tang Tang didn't understand what Great White wanted. Roar, Great White bent forward. Using his big furry head to nudge his leg, it hinted at Tang Tang to crawl up. Great White, thank you. Tang Tang climbed up carefully. After Tang Tang settled onto its back, Great White then got up and slowly walked to the garden, carrying the little milk bun. At this moment, Sui was watching in awe. Could this training ability run in the family? That can't be. This child isn't even Miss Wanwan's. Chapter 997. 997. Not only was Sui shocked, so was Yuanwan. Never did she imagine that Tang Tang and Great White would get along so well. In the garden, Great White walked steadily until it was beneath a large tree. He then bent down and let Tang Tang get off. Tang Tang reached out to hug Great White and thanked the big white tiger with a kiss on its forehead. Yuanwan watched as the little milk bun and the big white tiger got along so happily, and her heart melted. She quickly took out her phone to take a picture, then excitedly said, "That's great. I always knew Tang Tang would like Great White. See, Han, you see this, right? Great White also likes Tang Tang." Tang Tang hurt his leg, and Great White voluntarily went to carry him. "I want to keep Great White. I also want to keep Tang Tang." Si Han didn't reply. Keeping Great White is fine, but as for keeping Tang Tang, he's someone else's child. Yi Wanwan meekly walked up to Si Han. "I don't want to return Tang Tang." Si Han's fingers combed through her hair, and he gently asked, "Didn't you say you don't like kids?" Yi Wanwan couldn't reply to this at first, but then responded matter-of-factly, That's not the same. I don't like kids, but Tang Tang is my son. I gave birth to him." Si Han. "She's too immersed in her role." Yi Wanwan sighed. "Actually, Tang Tang is so similar to you that I really suspected he could be your illegitimate child. But now, I think I thought about it too much." Si Han looked at her. "Why?" Yi Wanwan blinked. "Because if Tang Tang is your son, it doesn't make sense how his EQ is so high." This was the millionth time Si Han had been dissed over his EQ. Yi Wanwan thought about it again and quietly continued, "Unless he got it from me, as expected of my son." She then complained, "Even Tang Tang knows to give me flowers. As a boyfriend, don't you have anything to say about that?" Si Han was speechless. He looked at the girl whose gaze could captivate everyone and he replied, "Did you ever give me the chance?" When Yuanwan heard this, she thought about it and was surprised with herself. It seems like I was the one who kept giving him flowers. I invited him to the movies first. I also prepared a candlelit dinner for him. Everything a boyfriend should do. I've done it all. So that's the truth. I've lost out," Yuanwan murmured. From the beginning, she'd been so used to trying to curry favor with the great devil. What a tragedy. Si Han saw her unhappy expression, and amusement flickered in his eyes as he bent down towards her. As he gently gave her a soft kiss, he pressed his hand against the back of her head. The kiss only ended once Yuanwan ran out of breath. She could feel his breath on her lips when he spoke. "Are you still losing out?" Yuanwan stared at the cold and seductive face before her that was also as beautiful as the cherry blossoms in March. She was in a trance at first, then she kept shaking her head. "Not a loss, not a loss, not a loss at all. Damn. Did Si Han undo his seal or something? Isn't he supposed to be disinterested in human interaction? He is practically, a male fox demon. He already has the looks and now he has the EQ. A fox demon is usually female and known to be a seductress." Chapter 998. Before she could lose control, Yuanwan fled upstairs. She really respected herself in her past life. Faced with such good looks, she was actually able to still remain loyal like a dog to Gu Yuze. With such frightening determination, she was practically Zhan Hua. After Yuanwan entered her room, a notification popped up on her phone. It was a text from nameless Nya. "Nya Hollow Pit. Famous Yi. How's Tang Tang today? Is he still doing okay?" Yuanwan glared at her phone screen and ignored it. "Nya Hollow Pit. Congratulations. Hope you become lucky and get rich, Red Pocket." Yuanwan glanced at the red pocket, then opened it with her finger before replying, "Famous Yi. He's doing pretty well. I just got him a pet." "Nya Hollow Pit. Eh? A pet? I forgot to tell you that Tang Tang doesn't like small animals, especially the furry and weak ones. When he was younger, I got him a little chick that ended up dying. After that, he never got another pet." "What did you get him?" After nameless Nya sent this message, He sent another red pocket. Yi Wanwan accepted the red pocket and noticed it was a hefty one, so she replied, "Famous Yi, that's not true. Tang Tang really likes pets. If you don't believe me, see for yourself." Yi Wanwan then sent the photo of Tang Tang and the big white tiger. The conversation went silent for several minutes before nameless Nya finally replied back. "Nya Hollow Pit. What is this thing? Famous Yi, you don't recognize it? Nya Hollow Pit. Bullshit, of course I know what it is. Isn't it a tiger? Famous Yi, that's right. Nya Hollow Pit. You actually gave a tiger to Tang Tang as a pet? I really need to kneel." But Tong Tong's smile in that photo does make it seem like he really likes it. It's been such a long time since Tong Tong's looked so happy. He really loved small animals, but because he was scared they were too weak, he decided to distance himself, afraid they would leave him again. Famous Yi. Oh right. Why are you suddenly so generous? Where did you get so much money? Yi Wanwan curiously asked. Nya Hollow Pit. Of course I earned it with my capabilities. Proud, Yi Wanwan stared at nameless Nya's smug emoji with suspicion. Famous Yi, you earned it. Nya Hollow Pit, of course. After having the experience of being an extra last time, I decided to participate in a show. If you don't believe me, see for yourself. Video. Yi Wanwan instantly thought that was impossible. With his acting skills, how could he still participate in a show? Yi Wanwan curiously opened the video nameless Nya sent her. After she finished watching, she was completely stunned. The video really was of a show, and it was an outdoor show that was currently trending. There were a dozen or so obstacles built above water, and participants who could complete the obstacle course won prizes and money. Yi Wanwan watched as the other participants fell into the water, and the fastest one took several minutes. Finally, the last participant appeared in the video. It was a man dressed in all black. He was like the wind. None of the audience members, or even the host, were able to make out his movements. The fella rushed from the starting point and hit the drum once he reached the end point, leaving behind a first-place record. Yi Wanwan didn't need to guess to know that the fella was nameless Nya. He was really unique to make money like this. Practically. You actually used such heaven-defying martial arts to participate in a kindergarten-level competition, and you still feel proud. Doesn't your conscience feel anything from making money like this? You never thought about how you're going to face those masters from your past? Yi Wanwan felt very speechless and typed some words in reply. Famous Yi, you win, my dear big brother. A historic Chinese politician known for loving only his wife. Chapter 999. 999, My Dear Big Brother. Nameless Nya felt this indescribable feeling in his heart when he saw these words. At that moment, a scene surfaced in his mind. A cute little rice ball wobbling up to him, barely able to pronounce words, but still calling out Big Brother in her milky voice. If he knew that would be the last time he ever saw his little sister, he would have held her little hand and stayed with her longer instead of pushing her aside and running out. After a short moment of reminiscence, nameless Nya let out a sigh and saved the photo from before. To the side, his brick-moving foreigner friend noticed his captain deep in thought and couldn't help but feel surprised. What's wrong with the captain? Spray of flowers touched the little flower on his head and sighed. What else could it be? He misses his sister. The brick-moving foreigner appeared a bit curious. I heard the Nya family had a daughter. Why wasn't the captain's sister raised in the Nya family? Spray of Flowers shrugged. I don't know. If the captain hadn't mentioned her, I wouldn't even know he had a sister. After she finished texting, Yi Wanwan set her phone to the side and opened her closet. Her schedule was full today. Before noon, she had to head over to production, then she had a lecture to attend in the afternoon at school. The main lecturer was Li Yu, a guest lecturer at Imperial Media University and the best friend of her grandpa, Yi Hongwei. She met Li Yu at her grandpa's birthday banquet. Li Yu would realize if she didn't show up, so things could get awkward. It was also worth mentioning that Professor Li Yu's lectures were worth listening to. Yu Wanwan changed into men's clothing and also brought a set of women's clothing to change into at school. Si Han needed to attend a banquet that night to receive Mr. Mu. After saying goodbye to Tang Tang, Yu Wanwan and Si Han headed out together. They would attend to their own matters first, then meet up to go to the banquet together. Shortly after the pair split up, Yu Wanwan arrived at the filming location, Imperial Media University. Today, the filming location was right across from her school, which was why she brought the clothes with her. She could change afternoon and directly head to her lecture. When Yu Wanwan arrived, they were filming Gong Su and Luo Chen's parts. Han Xianyu played Gong Su's older brother in the film. He played a university professor and had scenes to act out at the school, so everyone was there. Due to the main actor's popularity, even though the filming location was secluded, they were still filming during school hours, so many fans and students were watching in the surrounding area. Ah, Gong Su, Luo Chen, I love you. Xianyu, look this way. Oh my god. Little angel Xianyu is so hot in glasses, hhh. Yu Wanwan walked over to Han Xianyu and looked at him as he read the script. Han Xianyu's wearing an elegant gray suit and glasses. He's really as handsome as a professor. Luckily, Gong Su and Luo Chen were able to compete with him in the looks department. Otherwise, she wouldn't dare to have Han Xianyu play a supporting role. He would steal all the attention. You came. Han Xianyu noticed Yi Bai had arrived, so he greeted her. Han Xianyu sensed her staring and consciously touched his face. What is it? Is something wrong with my makeup? Yu Wanwan laughed. It's nothing. I just noticed that you're handsome to the next level today. No wonder my little Yin is such a fan. Chapter 1000. Yu Wanwan frequently mentioned Zhang Yin ran in front of Han Xianyu and asked for a limited edition signature from him, so he had some recollection of her. Your classmate? Han Xianyu asked. Yu Wanwan sighed. Yeah, I really pity her boyfriend. He'll always come second. Yu Wanwan was laughing when her phone rang. It was a phone call from the crazed fan. Yu Wanwan shrugged helplessly. Speak of the devil. Your little fangirl is calling. Go work. I'm going to take this call. Go. Han Xianyu chuckled. Yu Wanwan walked to a spot with nobody in the vicinity and answered the phone. Hello, Yinra. HHH. Wanwan. Han Xianyu is coming to film at our school today. Did you know? Too bad I have class all morning so I can't go. Naturally, it was Zhang Yinran's excited voice coming from the phone. Yu Wanwan helplessly replied, calm down. If you're going to be like this, a certain someone will be eating vinegar. Yu Wanwan was about to say that when a familiar voice came from the phone. Wanwanjia. I don't have class so I can go. Once I take some pictures, I'll share them with you and Yinran. I'm all ready. Yu Wanwan felt that this voice was even more excited than Zhang Yinran, and she was at a loss for words. All right, I gotta pretend I didn't say anything. Ah, how hurtful. My boyfriend should learn from other people's boyfriends. After Yu Wanwan finished the call, she went back and saw that Gong Su and Luo Chen's makeup was done. Gong Su was holding a mirror seriously as he looked at his reflection. Ah, I wonder which girl will be lucky enough to marry me. Yu Wanwan. That's enough. Once Gong Su saw Yu Wanwan, he immediately ran over to show off. Oh, Yi, you came. Come, take a look at me. Aren't I especially handsome today? Won't all the girls who see me want to marry me? How about you take a photo of me and show it to little Candied Plum? Isn't it possible she'll become my fan once she sees it? Gong Su's role was a university student, so he was currently wearing basketball clothes. His hair was unruly and blonde, so he appeared physically fit and youthful. His role in the film was an arrogant rich playboy, and he also a school prince who was still likable. Yu Wanwan couldn't help but admit that Gong Su's costume was really good. Gong Su was well suited for this role. Simply looking at him made her suddenly feel as though it was Xue Xiaoyang standing before her. Luo Chen also didn't disappoint. Ever since he came under her wing, He constantly trained and worked out. He currently appeared captivating in his vest and black training pants. His mannerisms were more similar to a cheetah's than a human's. He seemed aggressive and piercing. Yi Wanwan ignored Gong Su's last comment and looked at them both with satisfaction. Not bad. This suits you too. Gong Su murmured unhappily. Ji, when you praise me, praise only me. Why did you have to include him? Yuanwan glanced at him nonchalantly. Then when you said you were going to eat shit by yourself, why did you suddenly feel the need to include Luo Chen? Gong Su instantly appeared guilty but still sounded as though he was in the right when he replied. Didn't you tell me to act close to him in public and to avoid conflicts? Don't we appear very close? Yi Wanwan, your way of expressing your closeness is really unique. Chapter 1001. 1001. Gong Su smiled as he put his hand on Luo Chen's shoulder. Good brother of mine, when there is good fortune, we must share it together. You don't need to thank me. Luo Chen silently swatted a certain someone's hand off. Yi Wanwan waved her hand with disapproval. Don't play around anymore. Go get ready. You're both about to film. The two went to prepare themselves, and Yi Wanwan returned to where Han Xianyu was sitting, waiting for the filming to begin. In the film, Gong Su played the young master Xue Xiaoyang, who was from a rich family, while Luo Chan played Xinyu, a sniper from a special forces unit. Filming began from when Xue Xiaoyang first met Shan Yu's little sister and kept sticking to her like a stalker, causing him to develop a bad relationship with Shan Yu. After the Xue family noticed how Xue Xiaoyang wasn't ever focused on studying and was becoming even more disobedient, they decided to send him to train with the unit with their family soldiers. Once he entered the unit, Xue Xiaoyang met Shan Yu for the second time. If this film went the youthful idol route, their box office sales wouldn't be too bad judging by the looks of the cast. But due to Yi Wanwan's ambitions, her goal went beyond the box office. In her previous life, Tanjin Xian made a lot of severe cuts in the film for the box office, so the remainder of the film that was released only contained some romance between Xue Xiaoyang and Shan Yu's little sister. Yi Wanwan took a different route and instead, she kept most of the original script where the focus was on the two male leads while the female lead became a supporting character. The majority of the film focused on the process of Xue Xiaoyang entering the unit and becoming an elite soldier from his original rich playboy self. The scene that was going to be filmed today was when Xue Xiaoyang was hanging out with his sleazy friends and harassing a first-year female student. Coincidentally, this female student was the little sister of Luo Chen's character, Shan Yu. Shan Yu had just returned home to visit that day and went to the school to see his sister. He then encountered Xue Xiaoyang and his friends harassing his sister, and the two parties fought. Shan Yu protectively placed his sister behind him and angrily rushed forward to beat up the others. Xue Xiaoyang had a vain and frivolous expression as he sneered at Shan Yu. Hey, even if you're Shen Ying's older brother, you can't interfere with her feelings. What if she likes me and has feelings for me? If you hit me, won't she feel hurt? Xue Xiaoyang was being ridiculous and overbearing, causing the nerves on Shan Yu's face to nearly explode from anger. At that moment, Xue Xiaoyang glanced at Shen Ying and asked with a smirk, Fellow student, you're sure you really don't like me? A breeze passed by, and the youth's light smirk under the cherry blossom tree was a truly romantic and dreamlike sequence. What girl could resist such temptation? Shen Ying was no exception. The young girl was blushing red on both cheeks, and she lowered her head as she was pulled away by her older brother. After walking a short distance, Shen Ying couldn't help turning back for a glance. In her eyes, it was clear she had left her heart behind. The playful Xue Xiaoyang seemed as though he expected she would look back, and he instantly broke out into a smile. This scene emphasized Xue Xiaoyang's personality, and the most detestable aspect of it was how Gong Su was able to fully bring out Xue Xiaoyang's arrogant, vain, and overbearing nature. Clearly, he was in the wrong and made no sense, but he was able to correct the wrong into a right through his words. The line he said to Seon-ing especially made people's hearts flutter. On camera, the youth was overbearing, but with his fresh outfit, dazzling good looks, and high-spirited attitude, people couldn't look away. Yi Wanwan was nodding with satisfaction as she observed the scene. She hadn't wasted her efforts on Gong-soo. Chapter 1002. After filming ended, the surrounding fans and students began to excitedly scream nonstop. Ah, Gong-soo's so handsome. I'm about to pass out. Who said my Gong-soo can't act? They must be blind, right? I came just for my little angel Xianyu, but how did I end up falling for Gong-soo? This can't be right, can't be right. I need to save myself for my little angel Xianyu. I can't cheat on him like this. Oh, I can't hold back. I'm sorry. Great. Cut. The director shouted. Filming was done in one take. The director kept giving praise. Not bad, not bad. The acting was very natural without any flaws, especially for Gong-soo. Ahaha, I already said it before. This young master is really a genius. Isn't my work worthy of a golden orchid? So easy. Yuji, you don't need to worry about my acting anymore. After hearing everyone's praise, Gong-soo's smile was so wide that it reached his ears. Yi Wanwan sighed as she watched from afar. This guy really thinks they're praising him. Earlier on, Yi Wanwan helped him go over the script several times. This scene matched his personality completely, so of course there were no flaws in his acting. Yi Wanwan already predicted that much. The trickier parts were in the second half. Han Xianyu set down the script in his hands and said to Yi Wanwan, there's a lot of potential in this film and there's even hopes of winning an award. It's not impossible that he wins a Golden Orchid for Best Actor. Han Xianyu said that before helplessly adding another sentence. Of course, I'm talking about Luo Chun. This film had 2 male leads and Luo Chun wasn't bad as long as Gong-soo didn't drag his hind legs. Looking purely at Luo Chun's acting, he had a shot at the award. Yi Wanwan rubbed her chin and suddenly said, Xianyu, in the history of the Golden Orchid, has there ever been a precedent of a film winning 2 awards for Best Actor? Han Xianyu was stunned. That's never happened before. Although there's several movies with 2 male leads making the cut, it's never happened before. Even if there are 2 male leads in a film, there can only be one. You're not thinking. Han Xianyu never imagined Yi Wanwan actually carried such hopes. Not only did she want the Best Actor award for her film, but she wanted 2. Yi Wanwan smirked. We'll have to see if Gong-soo is willing to put in the effort. As for Luo Chun, he has about an 80% chance. Han Xianyu laughed. You're that confident about Luo Chun? Yi Wanwan appeared smug. Of course. I groomed him personally. Han Xianyu then asked, what about me? Yi Wanwan sighed. You received a Golden Orchid when you were 18 and the film you debuted in was received extremely well. Last year, you were even nominated for a national film. You've already left the rookie group and are considered a veteran with talent. There's nothing more I can do to help you. Why do I suddenly understand Ce Han's words from earlier? The nomination for the film last year was because of you. You were the one who made me decide to choose that film, Han Xianyu replied. Aside from that, Yibai also gave him other reminders. During those times, he wasn't even her artist. He was only a friend. She helped him countless times. She just never took it to heart. After Han Xianyu finished saying that, he changed the topic back to Gong-soo. The scene Gong-soo just did was very good, but as for the latter half, I'm afraid. Yi Wanwan peered at Gong-soo and smiled. After the first half of the film is done, I prepared a training camp of hell for Gong-soo. Chapter 1003, 1003 SSS, Gong-soo, who was completely engrossed in his own acting skills, suddenly felt chills running down his back. However, Gongsu didn't pay any attention to that and cheerfully skipped toward Yi Wanwan to be praised. Brother Yi, did you see? Don't my acting skills deserve a best actors? Not bad, good job. Yi Wanwan's face was full of grandmotherly kindness without revealing any of her true feelings. Gongsu turned boastful immediately. Ha ha ha, Luo-chun, just follow my lead without any worry. With my skills, I'll certainly win that bet. Luo-chun, I can't relax at all right? Emperor Sky Entertainment, General Manager's Office. In dealing with Tanjin incident, Yi had been utterly exhausted lately from making all sorts of apologies and handling the media. With the truth laid bare, Emperor Sky Entertainment had no choice but to publish an apology statement, announce that the shooting of the movie would be stopped, and give Su Lin his deserved compensation. Ending the shooting of the movie caused quite substantial damage to them, since all the promotion and pre-shooting preparations they made at the beginning all went down the drain. Originally, this movie was estimated to be quite profitable. Now, not only did they not earn a single cent, but they also had to lose a large sum of money. I was too careless and didn't expect to fall into Yi Mufan's trap. Yi was self-reproaching. Gu Yuze embraced her delicate body and gently comforted her. Don't blame yourself. It's just money. It's nothing to Emperor Sky. As for our reputation, the one who stole the script was Tanjin. We can't be blamed for our oversight. It won't cause too big of an impact on us. Yi's eyes darkened. However, that script is now in Yi Mufan's hands. The good script she picked with great effort landed in their opponent's hands, and they basically helped their opponent promote for free. How could she be happy with that? Gu Yuze was unconcerned. When Su Lin gave them the script, one of the requirements was to be completely loyal to the script. And you've seen the original script. If it isn't altered, do you think anyone would accept the depressing and suffocating plot near the end and the tragic ending? A wasteful young master like Yi Mufan doesn't know the current movie market at all. Soon, he'll find out this isn't a career he can succeed in simply because he wants to. Don't worry. I've already invited top producer, Rong Junwei, to come back and remake the movie that made him famous that summer. As soon as Yi heard Rong Junwei's name, surprise and joy filled her face. He was the king of the box office and the godfather of idol dramas. He had once achieved miracles in the box office. Yi looked at the man in front of her with great admiration and coquettishly leaned into his arms. Yuze, thank goodness I have you. I wouldn't know what to do otherwise. Then Yi continued, Yuze, although you're merely the interim general manager right now, grandfather is old now, and my father. You know him. He really doesn't have much experience in management and completely relies on the expensive people grandfather hired from overseas to manage things for him. I'm father's only daughter, so in the end, our Yi family will have to rely on you. In other words, the Yi family would belong to her in the future, which basically meant it would belong to the son-in-law, Gu Yuze. Gu Yuze's eyes glinted, and he gently said, don't worry. Your business is my business. Although I'm only an interim manager, I'll do my best. Just leave the rest to me. You can just happily wait to become my bride. Chapter 1004. Yi concealed the sharp glint in her eyes and blissfully nodded. Yes. She didn't care at all whether the Yi family's family property would end up in the hands of an outsider. After all, being the mistress of the Gu family was much better than being the eldest miss of the Yi family. As for the senior management and shareholders of the Yi family, they didn't care whether the one in charge of the Yi family was Yi Hongwei's grandson or his grandson-in-law. They only cared whether he would help them earn more money and obtain more profits. Hence, she had to team up with Gu Yuze and try to take control of the Yi family as soon as possible. Otherwise, once her true background was exposed, she would lose everything. Her plan was smooth sailing at first, but then Yi Mufan unexpectedly changed and became smarter. However, that was fine. It might be hard to conspire against Yi Mufan, but it was too easy to trick that idiot, Yuanwan. It was impossible for Yi Mufan to watch over her 24/7. The following few scenes were shot very successfully. Yi Wanwan naturally didn't forget to get something for a certain fan. After obtaining permission from Han Xinyu, she dug out her Polaroid and found a perfect angle before snapping a photo of him in his professor clothes. Then, she had Han Xinyu sign the photo for her. On the side, jealousy bubbled in Gong Su, and he sneakily slid over. "Brother Yi, why don't you want my signed photo? Could it be that you don't have any friends who are fans of me? That's illogical." Yi Wanwan raised her brows. "Your fan? That's right. Think carefully. You must have some." Gong Su was completely serious. Yi Wanwan pondered over it carefully before saying, I think there really is one." Gong Su was instantly satisfied. "Ahaha, I knew it. Come, take a photo of me. I'll give you a fancy autograph." Yi Wanwan had no choice but to take a few photos of Gong Su as well. Gong Su happily signed his name with a flourish. "Brother Yi, which friend of yours has such excellent taste?" Yi Wanwan replied, "Oh, you've met her. She came to the shoot to stand guard last time." Jiao. Gong Su's hand trembled, and the pin he was holding fell to the ground with a clang. His face turned ashen. He swallowed and said, "Brother Yi, I suddenly realized my acting skills are too awful and don't deserve to be liked by fans at all. I'm going to read the script." After saying that, he snatched all his signed photos back and crushed them into a ball. Then, he shot to a chair some distance away like a bolt of lightning and read his script studiously. "Are you for real? Wah. Why's Brother Xinyu's fan a cute girl while my fan is so scary?" Thankfully, he escaped fast enough. Yi Wanwan's lips twitched slightly as she watched Gong Su fleeing. It was a rarity that there was a girl he didn't dare to flirt with. The remaining scenes today merely needed Gong Su to be himself, so there shouldn't be any more problems. Hence, Yi Wanwan glanced at the time on her phone and said, "I have plans later, so I'll be leaving now." Han Xinyu nodded. "All right, go on." The ears of Gong Su, who was pretending to be studious, twitched, and he instantly rolled back over there when he heard that. "Huh, Brother Yi, you won't keep watching? I still have scenes in the afternoon. If you leave, you'll affect my passion for acting." Yi Wanwan grinned. "You're so awesome, so I'm not worried and I don't need to keep watch." Ha, Brother Yi, you're right. Don't worry about me then. I'll definitely be fine. Do your best then." Chapter 1005. 1005. After greeting everyone, Yi Wanwan returned to the car and changed her clothes and makeup. Professor Li Yu's seminar was held in the Multimedia Hall, located on the east side of Imperial Media University. When Yi Wanwan arrived, a majority of the seats inside were taken already, so she was met by a sea of people. Aside from the actual students of the university, there were also many students from other universities who came, so the hall was abnormally lively. When Yi Wanwan reached the entrance to the hall abruptly turned silent for a second before erupting into a clamor, and countless pairs of eyes landed on her. "Shit, what major is that beauty in? How come I've never seen her? Our university has a beauty like her? Why didn't I know? Is she an entertainer who's already made her first public performance and doesn't attend classes often? If she's an entertainer, there's no way we wouldn't know about her." Yi Wanwan spotted an empty seat in the third to last row. She walked over and sat down. She was naturally aware of the stares and discussions around her. Back when she first attended senior high school, she was ridiculed everywhere she went. But now that she changed her appearance, she received an instant change in treatment. Yi Wanwan had just sat down, but there was already a guy trying to hit on her. "Hey, beautiful, what major are you studying? How come I haven't seen you before? How about we exchange WeChat information?" Before the guy finished speaking, a girl's furious voice was heard from the side. "Su Changdong, do you want to die?" The guy was instantly startled. "Kafuya, didn't you say you weren't coming today?" So you think you can flirt with girls behind my back, huh? As the girl spoke, she glared at Yuan on high alert. The guy exclaimed, embarrassed. No, I was merely curious since I didn't know her. What's there to be curious about? There are plenty of people like her at our school. There are even run-of-the-mill girls like that in the neighboring school. They rely on the fact that they look a little pretty, so they're preoccupied with trying to hook some rich men every day. How would they have the time to attend classes? Naturally, you don't know her. The girl snapped irritably. Having been accused of living off a rich man for no reason, Yuan raised her eyebrows slightly. Beauty, I don't seem to have ever offended you? The girl angrily retorted promptly. Not having offended me? You were seducing my boyfriend. The guy hurriedly tried to smooth things over. Honey, don't be mad. Don't be mad. Sigh, I like a girl who's intelligent with good grades like you. How could I take a liking to Barbie dolls like her? I was really asking offhand just now. That's right, Yuya. Don't be angry. Many people on the side also piped in. Their expressions were very disdainful when they looked at Yuan. Yuan was quite speechless too. As if it wasn't enough that she was discriminated against for being ugly back then, but she was still being discriminated against now. So what if I'm good-looking? Why can't I have good grades despite being good-looking? Do I deserve to be discriminated against simply because I'm good-looking? Thankfully, Professor Lee entered right then. The hall regained its silence, and Yuan could finally focus on listening to the seminar. Students, everyone, hello? I'm very happy to have received an invitation to hold this seminar. The topic I want to talk about today is emergency public relations. I'll summarize a few classic case studies from corporations and the entertainment industry from recent years and launch a discussion with you students. Professor Lee's seminar was very interesting. It was different from how most other people like to talk about theory and knowledge. There was a lot of practical information in his seminar, and he cited classic examples from real life. Hence, all the students listened with keen interest, and even Yuan gained a lot from it. Soon enough, more than an hour had quickly passed. On the stage, Professor Lee glanced over everyone. I have another example here that I'd really like to discuss with everyone. Does everyone here know about the Han Xinyu molesting a young girl scandal? Chapter 1006. Upon hearing this, Yuan looked up from her notebook at once. I never imagined that my actions would one day appear in Professor Lee's lessons. It felt quite magical. Of course I know. That scandal was such a large commotion back then. I bet there's no one here who doesn't know, right? Han Xinyu was truly wronged. Thank goodness the whole truth was revealed in the end. The students beneath the stage all started to talk. Professor Lee nodded. Who will analyze this case? The girl named Yuya appeared to want to raise her hand, eager to give it a try. However, Professor Lee paused on the stage, and his gaze shot straight toward Yuan's direction, evidently noticing her. When the birthday banquet was held, Liu lavished her with praise and nearly started a brawl with Zhou Qinggang, the board member of Imperial City University, while fighting over her. Upon seeing that Yuan was attending his seminar, Liu was naturally very pleased. Hence, he said with a slight smile, "Oh, I seem to have spotted Imperial Media's top entering student this year. Student Yuan." What? Yuan. Upon hearing this name, every student present revealed an excited and astonished expression. Yuan was the top scorer on the university entrance examination for liberal arts of her year in Imperial City. Imperial Media University and Imperial City University both fought over her violently, but Yuan chose Imperial Media in the end. All of Imperial Media University knew about this. Unfortunately, after Yuan entered the university, neither head nor tail of her could be seen. Aside from appearing for every exam and some key subjects, she was rarely seen. All everyone knew was that after entering the university, she continued receiving scholarships for being number one in her grade, and she even applied for early graduation. Damn, that legendary female top student also came today? The guy who flirted with Yuan earlier also became a bit excited, but he didn't dare to be too obvious with his girlfriend by his side. I heard she's super impressive. She doesn't come to class but still gets #1 in every subject. Just who is it? Everyone in the hall instantly followed Li Yu's line of sight. Hearing herself being mentioned by name by Professor Li, Yuanwan hurriedly stood up from her seat. I thought I would be called upon by Professor Li today. Good thing I came. The guy noticed someone suddenly standing up next to him. It was the beautiful woman he suggestively hit on earlier. His face immediately froze. She is. Next to him, his girlfriend, who had been clinging onto his arm saccharinely, was also startled. Why did this girl stand up? Professor Li. Yuanwan greeted him after standing up. Professor Li nodded a few times in succession. Quite good, quite good. Well then, student Yuanwan, how about you analyze it for us? Upon hearing Professor Li's suggestion, the girlfriend's face instantly turned ashen and filled with astonishment. This girl is actually Yuanwan. The multimedia hall erupted with discussion. Shit. That beauty who entered earlier is actually the legendary top student at our school, Yuanwan. Yuanwan is actually this good-looking? This is simply illogical. This case was created by Yuanwan herself, so there was probably no one who understood it better than herself. After Yuanwan stood up, she fluently analyzed the case study from start to end. Everyone was originally suspicious that something was amiss, but after hearing her textbook answer, all doubts evaporated. Chapter 1007. 1007. After Yuanwan sat back down, the guy next to her felt like he was sitting on needles while the girl also didn't look too good. She actually called Yuanwan a Barbie earlier, and even said she was one of those girls who didn't ever attend class and relied on their beauty to live off rich men. What actually happened was that she was the top student two well-known universities violently fought over, and she applied for early graduation. The students near them all witnessed her jealously fighting over her boyfriend earlier, so they were all currently pointing at her and laughing. The girl couldn't sit any longer. She stood up with her books with a dreadful expression and tugged on her boyfriend. Let's go. Why are you still foolishly sitting here? Oh, the man also stood up while awkwardly scratching his head. Classmate sorry. The guy hastily said this and chased after his girlfriend. The other students in the hall were all sighing. Even the attractiveness of a bookworm is so off the charts these days. How should us normal people get by? Give us some room for survival. I originally thought she was someone from the nearby Imperial films coming to freeload on the seminar. After the seminar ended, Liu pulled Yuanwan to the side and started chatting with her fervently. Wanwan, how have you been lately? I heard you don't come to school often. What are you busy with? Liu asked with concern. Professor Li, calling me Grandpa will do. No need to be so unfamiliar. Liu said with feigned anger. Yuanwan coughed lightly and helplessly corrected herself. Grandpa Li, I've been interning at my brother's place lately. Liu nodded while chuckling. Pretty good, pretty good. No matter how much you learn, it won't compare to practical application. If that punk of mine was half as hardworking and responsible as you, I wouldn't be so worried. Upon hearing Professor Li's thread of conversation, Yuanwan suddenly discovered with alarm that something wasn't quite right. As expected, she promptly heard Liu saying, Wanwan, when are you free to come to Grandpa Li's place for a meal? That punk of mine just happens to be coming home next month. I can have him take good care of you. Yuanwan was rendered speechless. While Professor Li was flawless at teaching, he was obviously not so adept at matchmaking. This is too stiff, isn't it? Yuanwan replied. Cough, I'm not too sure. I've been quite busy at the company lately. Not a problem, not a problem. Your work and academics are more important. We can talk about it when you have time. That punk of mine just graduated, so he's free any time. Yuanwan found it hard to continue the conversation, so she randomly made up some excuse and hastily retreated. How sinful. She merely made a trip to the school, but she was hit on one moment and match made the next moment. There were simply landmines everywhere. After finally throwing Liu off her tail with great difficulty and running out of the multimedia hall, Yi Wanwan's phone started ringing. The caller was Si Yihan. Hey! Yi Wanwan's voice sounded guilty for no reason. It had only been a short period of time, but how many times had she broken the rules and provoked the opposite sex? It's finished? His deep voice came through the phone. Yes, just finished. Coming to your place now. I'm at the entrance of your school. I'll take you to get styled, Si Yihan said. Oh, all right. I'll head over now. Yi Wanwan hung up the phone and sprinted toward the entrance to the school. When Yi Wanwan approached the entrance, she could see a black car whose brand she couldn't discern. It was parked there, low profile. Si Yihan was waiting for her while leaning against the car door. What was unfortunate was that as Yi Wanwan walked towards Si Yihan, several guys started hitting on her. Chapter 1008, Classmate Yi. Let's exchange our WeChat information and study together. Classmate Yi, I'm also from the advertising program. Are you interested in joining our club? Classmate Yi, let me tell you about drama club. Brothers, please stop talking to me. My life is on the line. Yi Wanwan quickly spoke up. Sorry, my boyfriend is waiting for me. How about next time I'm free? HM? Boyfriend? She actually has a boyfriend already? The guys who struck up a conversation were all shocked before quickly revealing incredibly disappointed expressions. After Yi Wanwan narrowly escaped those people, she miserably ran towards Si Yihan. Yi Wanwan was currently wearing a simple white dress and wasn't wearing any other accessories. However, her looks were simply too outstanding. Her skin was fair like snow, her features were as pretty as a picture, and the slightly upturned corners of her eyes were like peach blossoms. Si Yihan was well aware of the type of look all those men had when they surrounded her and looked at her. They were coveting his prized possession. Let's go. Did you wait a long time? Yi Wanwan asked as she observed his expression. Just arrived. Si Yihan opened the car door. His mood couldn't be discerned from his face. After getting in the car, Si Yihan told the driver, Su-yi, go to the shopping center first? Yes, ninth master. Sui started the engine, not daring to breathe. What a tragedy. If I had known, I would have driven slower. Who could have known we would run into Miss Wanwan being hit on by a group of men? It's still early. We'll go buy some clothes first, then get you styled, Si Yihan said as he read a finance and economics magazine, as though nothing happened earlier. Yi Wanwan looked at her fingers while also peering at his expressionless profile. She cautiously probed, Agio, are you angry? Si Yihan carelessly stroked his fingers and coolly glanced at her. Why would I be angry? Si Yihan purposefully played ignorant and pretended nothing happened. However, only he knew the truth. She probably underestimated how ugly that beast inside of him was. A single extra glance at her, and he would treat others like competition, to say nothing of using that type of gaze to look at her and speak to her right in front of him. He naturally knew how vile, how selfish, and how unbearable his own thoughts were. His nearly perverted possessiveness actually hadn't changed at all from the beginning until now. He simply didn't want to alarm her. He simply was too greedy for her smile, so he learned to conceal himself little by little. No matter how calm and aloof he looked on the surface, his insides were extremely rotten. Yi Wanwan secretly assessed Si Yihan. In truth, Si Yihan's temper really kept improving these days. If it weren't for the fact that she could instinctively sense his mood after knowing him for so long, she might have really been deceived by him. After hearing Si Yihan's response, Yi Wanwan immediately said without hesitation, righteously indignant, You aren't angry? You aren't angry, but I'm angry. Then she pointed at her neck and fierily urged him, Quick. Si Yihan's brows knitted slightly, not understanding her intentions. What? Yi Wanwan anxiously said, Quickly stamp me. There's always someone coveting your darling. So infuriating. Si Yihan was startled at first and looked at her fair neck inattentively. Then the feigned indifference and calmness on his face melted little by little. It was like a small flower blossomed from the ashes of his dead and decayed insides. Su-yi, who was driving in the front. Miss Wanwan's pacifying methods. I could write an epic about them. Chapter 1009. 1009. Yi Wanwan had zero problems with calling herself Si Yihan's little darling. She boldly and confidently urged him, "Hurry, hurry." Seeing her animated face, a fire flared up from the bottom of Si Yihan's glacial eyes. His gaze lingered on her fair and graceful neck. Then his fingers gently caressed the side of her face, and he slowly got closer with downcast eyes. That's unnecessary. But, as he said that, he gently ran his lips over the side of her neck. His warm lips sucked her exquisite skin. But he was very willing to fulfill this request. Look away from indecency. In the front, Sui quickly raised the divider in the middle to avoid overeating. The black car slowly drove away from the school. The current Yi Wanwan had no idea Han Xinyu was stopped on the street across from Imperial Media University, since who knew when Anne was intently watching the direction they left in. His face was exceptionally foul-looking. "Xinyu, what is it?" Fei Yang, Han Xinyu's manager, asked suspiciously. Just now, Han Xinyu was about to leave after finishing the shooting, but he suddenly stopped when the car drove away from the school. Currently, Han Xinyu's expression was shifting unpredictably. He just saw Yi Bai's boyfriend at the entrance of the school, picking up a female student and getting into the car with her. The two of them hadn't had any indecent interactions, and he only saw the man opening the car door for the girl. Maybe they were merely friends or relatives? Thinking that, Han Xinyu originally planned to leave, but he felt uneasy. So he ended up saying, "Brother Yang, please follow that black car up ahead." Huh? Follow that car for what? Fei Yang didn't understand. Don't ask, just do it quickly. Oh, all right then. Fei Yang understood Han Xinyu well and knew he wasn't the type of person to act recklessly, so he must have said that for a reason. Hence, he hurriedly did as he was told and started the engine to follow the car. At the largest luxury goods shopping center in Imperial City, Han Xinyu followed them until they reached the underground parking lot of Parks and Plaza. There were a lot of cars, so his tailing didn't elicit the other party's attention. "Hey, Xinyu, just who's inside that car ahead? Why are we following them?" Fei Yang was completely baffled and didn't understand why Han Xinyu started acting like paparazzi. Han Xinyu didn't respond. He was intently focused on the car ahead of them. He saw the two people inside the car getting out together. This time, the girl was hugging the man's arm, and their unusual relationship became apparent. Quickly, the man and girl walked toward the elevator and rode the elevator to the shopping center. When Han Xinyu saw that man with another woman at the theater last time, he already felt something was amiss. However, Yi Bai explained she was a woman he knew before they were in a relationship, so he didn't say anything more. However, what was going on this time? Could that man be deceiving Yi Bai and secretly maintaining contact with that woman? Yi Bai liked him so much and was even willing to ignore the pressure of societal norms. The more Han Xinyu thought about it, the angrier he got. Without any further thoughts, he picked up the mask and sunglasses next to him and swiftly opened the door, following them. He had to confirm this. It'd be best if it was a misunderstanding, but if it wasn't, Fei Yang was terrified when he saw his actions. "Hey, Xinyu, what are you doing? Are you crazy?" Han Xinyu was a public figure. If he appeared in such a public place and was recognized, it would certainly cause chaos. "Brother Yang, I'll be fine." The typically rational Han Xinyu didn't pay attention to Fei Yang's advice this time. Chapter 1010. To prevent being recognized by fans, Han Xinyu couldn't walk around freely. He had to find an upper-level terrace with a broad view and watch from there. Although he had to watch from a distance and couldn't follow them, he could see the duo's interactions clearly. Si Yihan and Yi Wanwan were acting like a couple in their honeymoon phase. Because the couple had more than enough time, they started wandering through the shopping center and bought some snacks from the food stalls now and then. They fed each other, bite by bite. When they finished strolling around, Yuanwan went with Si Yihan to pick up her gown from the place he reserved it. Fei Yang watched as the man and woman, who Han Xinyu was tracking, entered a certain famous private styling club. He looked at the couple, then at Han Xinyu, whose expression was concealed under his sunglasses and mask, with a face of terror. Xinyu, why do I feel like you're catching your partner cheating? Could it be that you like that girl? Shit. Xinyu, you couldn't have started a relationship without telling me, right? Han Xinyu stared at the store and replied offhandedly, I didn't. Oh, that's good, that's good. You gave me a scare. If you do enter a relationship, you must tell me beforehand. I won't be able to handle it properly otherwise. Fei Yang patted his chest with fear. But if you aren't catching your partner cheating, what's going on? Han Xinyu didn't say anything. His mind was a mess. The only thought dominating his mind was, if this is true, what should I do? How should I tell Yi Bai? However, he retained a tinge of wishful thinking. Perhaps that girl was his relative, like a younger sister or something? SPE Styling Club. Guan Xiaohe, a woman in her 30s wearing the most fashionable clothes who was the top stylist there, had already been waiting for a long time. The store manager, Zhuo Shangjing, also rushed back from abroad and made a rare appearance. They had closed the store for today. After all, a person like Si Yihan couldn't be seen by ordinary people, but to their surprise, he was coming to their store personally. Hence, they had to prudently receive him today. Originally, the store manager, Zhuo Shangjing, was going to personally style the guest today. However, Si Yihan's assistant specifically requested a female stylist, so this job fell onto Guan Xiaohe's shoulders. Special Assistant Su, may I ask when Chairman Si is arriving? Zhuo Shangjing inquired. Sui naturally wouldn't be a third wheel, so he came straight to the store and waited there. When he heard Zhuo Shangjing, he answered, Ninth Master is shopping with his girlfriend, but he should be arriving soon. Zhuo Shangjing, Guan Xiaohe, and the other stylists in the store were all surprised, as though they never expected a great character like Si Yihan to personally go shopping with his girlfriend. As the appointment time drew closer, footsteps were heard outside the door, and a couple entered the store. The girl possessed skin fairer than snow and extremely gorgeous looks, while the man was extraordinarily handsome and had an impressive presence. However, the girl was dressed leisurely and had an ice cream cone in one hand and a cup of milk tea in the other hand, whereas the man was helping her carry a plethora of bags that contained snacks and clothes. Excuse me, Miss and Mister, our store isn't open today, is what Guan Xiaohe wanted to tell them, when she unexpectedly saw Sui standing up and swiftly welcoming the ordinary couple. Ninth Master, the formal clothes are ready, and the stylist has arrived. When Guan Xiaohe and the other people heard Sui talking, they were all stunned. They never would have expected this couple to be Si Yihan and his girlfriend. They thought Si Yihan's arrival would be accompanied by an entourage. Who could have guessed he would be so down-to-earth and even help his girlfriend carry her bags and snacks? Chapter 1011 1011 N. Si Yihan nodded before taking the ice cream and milk tea Yuanwan was absorbed in and said, Go try on the clothes. One more bite. There's still one last bite. Yuanwan wasn't satisfied until she ate the last bite of ice cream from Si Yihan's hand. Chairman Si. Good afternoon, Chairman Si. Guan Xiaohe and the other people were stunned for a few seconds before they all hurriedly greeted him at once. May I ask, how should I address you, miss? Guan Xiaohe asked carefully. Hello, my surname is Yi. Yi Wanwan replied. Guan Xiaohe. Greetings, Miss Yi. Yi Wanwan evaluated the stylist in front of her. You are Guan Xiaohe, Teacher Guan? Guan Xiaohe quickly responded, Yes, I'm your stylist today, Guan Xiaohe. Do you know me, Miss Yi? Yi Wanwan said, Of course I do. You and Mr. Zhua are very famous in the industry. Although Guan Xiaohe was barely over 30, she had done makeup and styling for many famous A-listers and was well experienced. Furthermore, the store manager of this shop, Zhuo Shangjing, was internationally renowned, and even Yi Mufan revered him a lot. Zhou Shangjing was currently Xie Zhiji's appointed personal stylist. Yi Wanwan didn't expect that a few casual mentions of SPE's styling club in front of Si Yihan would make him help her book an appointment with a stylist here. Only, sigh, he didn't help her reserve Zhou Shangjing as expected. When Guan Xiaohe and Zhou Shangjing saw Yi Wanwan's polite and humble demeanor, they gained a favorable impression of her. After chatting with Guan Xiaohe and Zhou Shangjing briefly, Yi Wanwan went to the fitting room to change into her gown. The gown was entirely prepared by Si Yihan, and she didn't even have measurements done. She was originally worried it wouldn't fit, but after trying it on, she realized it fit quite well. Si Yihan's selection had zero room for criticism. However, the style of this gown was a bit surprising for her. Although the design was a bit reserved, it didn't affect its beauty at all. Sparkling beads were inlaid, giving it a dreamlike but also elegant quality under the lights. Meanwhile, the small details on it, like the rose embroidered onto the neckline, preserved the charming and adorable characteristics of her age. Outside the fitting room, Guan Xiaohe suddenly remembered something and said, the zipper on Miss Ye's gown might require assistance. Just as she said that, Yi Wanwan's voice was heard from the room. Ajiu, help me with my zipper. Si Yihan naturally stood up from the sofa and walked over to help his girlfriend with her zipper. Outside the door, Guan Xiaohe's face was filled with admiration as she looked at the man who was imposing but also handsome like a god. Although Si Yihan wasn't someone they could interact with at their level, there was an overabundance of rumors about him in Imperial City. The most common type of rumor was that he didn't go near women and was bloodthirsty and cruel. Some people also said he didn't make public appearances because he was too ugly. Guan Xiaohe never would have imagined he looked like this in reality. He might appear cold and indifferent, but he clearly spoiled his girlfriend beyond belief. Also, he was so handsome. A moment later, Yi Wanwan finally finished changing and sat down in front of the dressing table to have her makeup and hair done. For the most part, Guan Xiaohe did the hands-on work while Zhou Shangjing stood on the side to watch over them and make suggestions. Miss Yi, your skin is too good. I barely have to do anything. I just put on some foundation for you and gave you some warm tone makeup to match your gown. See if you like it. Chapter 10-12. After finishing her makeup, Guan Xiaohe stood on the side in a daze, awed. Too beautiful. She might be female also, but she could feel her heart pounding. She couldn't get jealous at all. The other people in the store all looked the same. The girl was beautiful enough to begin with, but with some dressing up later, she was so good-looking that it took their breaths away. This girl was different from the mass of standard beauties in the entertainment industry. Her beauty was enticing to both men and women, almost invasive in its degree. Zhou Shangjing couldn't help but secretly bet that if this girl entered the entertainment industry, she could stand shoulder to shoulder with the siren, Xie Zhiji, relying on her looks and aura alone. On the sofa, Si Yihan's pupils contracted slightly as he watched the brilliant and eye-catching girl that captured everyone's gaze. Yi Wanwan was also astonished by the girl in the mirror. She had never dressed up so formally. Yi Wanwan touched her face and exclaimed in surprise, "My goodness, I'm too good-looking. Agio, no wonder you're always worried about me. I'm also worried about myself." Si Yihan, Su Yi, everyone inside the store. When Guan Xiaohe heard her, she was startled briefly before chuckling in secret. This girl wasn't only pretty, but her personality was also very likable. No wonder the legendary patriarch of the Si family doted on her so much. Satisfied, very satisfied. Thanks for your hard work, teachers. Yi Wanwan said her thanks before happily holding her face. Ah, so happy. As expected, being pretty is the best. It was such a shame that she was ugly for so many years in her previous life and even died ugly. When you were dressed nice, your mood also improved. When Si Yihan saw Yi Wanwan's finished look and realized that other people would also see it, regret blossomed in his heart. However, it turned into indulgence when he saw her happiness. Si Yihan swept a stray lock of hair behind her ear before saying in a deep voice, Stay beside me tonight. No running about. Yi Wanwan bobbed her head energetically. Yes, yes, I know. I'm so beautiful. What would you do if I got kidnapped? You must watch over me carefully. Su-yi, what in the world happened in a mere year? How did Miss Wanwan go from courting death in all sorts of ways every day to having such a tight hold on Ninth Master? When he thought about this, it was simply too unbelievable. After Yi Wanwan finished being styled, she left SPE Styling Club with Si Yihan. When Han Xinyu saw them finally leaving the store, he promptly stood up. He discovered that the girl had switched into gorgeous attire and was intimately hooked onto the man's arm. They were about to head to the parking garage when Yi Wanwan spotted a sign of a dessert shop across from them and instantly paused. Aju, there's a pastry shop over there. Let's buy some cake to eat. You already ate a lot, Si Yihan reminded her. Yi Wanwan blinked her eyes. It's not for me. I'm buying it for Tang Tang. I'll bring it back for Tang Tang to eat. In the end, Yi Wanwan happily led Si Yihan toward the pastry shop. When Han Xinyu saw the two of them heading in his direction, he quickly grabbed a nearby magazine and covered his face. Fei Yang also nervously lowered his head. They're heading toward us. Nothing will happen, right? Chapter 1013, Isn't This Girl Too Pretty? Even Fei Yang, who had spent many years in the entertainment industry and seen all manner of beauties, was shocked by this girl's looks. When Han Xinyu saw the girl, he was also briefly dazzled by the girl's eye-catching looks. Moreover, the girl's features looked somewhat familiar. However, Han Xinyu was currently enraged by Si Yihan cheating, so he didn't pay attention to this insignificant detail. His face quickly darkened due to their intimate behavior. He couldn't lie to himself any longer. These two people were obviously an intimate couple. Xinyu, you must stay calm. You can't act recklessly here. Remember Yi Bai. If you cause any trouble, won't he have to end up cleaning up after you? As Fei Yang watched Han Xinyu's expression turning worser and worser, his heart trembled in fear, and he had no choice but to mention Yi Bai too. He wasn't overthinking. Han Xinyu's behavior simply looked too much like he was catching a cheating partner. However, at the mention of Yi Bai, Han Xinyu's expression became even worser for some reason. While Fei Yang was embroiled in all sorts of worries and possible mishaps, the girl reached them. As the girl approached, Fei Yang was dumbstruck by her stunning looks. Yi Wanwan was entirely focused on the food, so she naturally didn't notice the normal table of customers on the side and headed straight for the counter. I want strawberry mousse, a macaron, daifuku, and an almond cake. Yi Wanwan jubilantly ordered the items she wanted. Because Yi Wanwan and Si Yihan were heading for a banquet, they were lavishly dressed. Hence, the store clerk took a while before she could regain her wits and look away from the handsome and beautiful couple. She hastily said, Please wait a moment. I'll pack it up for you now. All right. Yi Wanwan nodded and held her breath in anticipation. Then, as though it wasn't her who wanted to eat it, she said to Si Yihan, Aju, think about how sad it is for Tang Tang to be home by himself. We have to buy more delicious food for him. Tang Tang definitely can't eat this much. That just means I can help out later. Si Yihan merely raised his brows but didn't expose her. Then he told the store clerk, We'll have 2 servings of what she ordered. Oh, I love you the most. Instantly, Yi Wanwan kissed Si Yihan's face happily. Currently, Han Xinyu's hands were tightly clenched, and his eyes were brimming with fury behind his sunglasses. Xinyu, you can't. Fei Yang was only able to get half his sentence out before the person in front of him disappeared from his seat. Miss, it's all packaged. Here it is. The store clerk handed the packaged desserts to Yi Wanwan. Sure. Thanks. Yi Wanwan happily took the box and hooked her arm around Si Yihan's arm before walking out of the store. However, a person suddenly walked in front of them from the side and blocked their path. The incomer was covered from head to toe. He wore a dark-colored jacket with a mask over his face and sunglasses over his eyes. Why is this person wrapped up like this in broad daylight? As Yi Wanwan thought that, the man suddenly said, "Mr. C." Upon hearing this man's voice, Yi Wanwan's heart skipped a beat. Shit, why does this person's voice sound so much like? In the next second, the man slowly took off his mask then his sunglasses, revealing a handsome and familiar face. Chapter 1014. 1014. The moment Yi Wanwan saw who it was, her eyes shot open, and her mind exploded. Her world seemed to have crumbled, and she nearly went crazy. Damn. Han Xinyu. Why does it have to be Han Xinyu? This was scarier than seeing a ghost during the day. Currently, Yi Wanwan wished for nothing more than to fly into the sky or burrow into the ground to hide. However, since she ran right into him, there was no use in hiding anymore. In contrast to the raging storm inside Yi Wanwan, when Si Yihan saw Han Xinyu, he didn't react and merely glanced at the man. It was as though not a single person or thing could stir a ripple in him. Han Xinyu stared unwaveringly at Si Yihan, and he had to maximize his self-control before he could repress his fury and carefully utter, "Mr. C, isn't there something you would like to explain? What's going on with this woman?" Si Yihan expressionlessly asked, "Explain?" Fury engulfed Han Xinyu, and he emotionally interrogated Si Yihan. "You still want to deny it? You're lying to him, playing with his feelings, and seeing other women behind his back. Damn. Calm down, my little angel. It's not what you think. I am Yi Bai. I am Yi Bai himself." Yi Wanwan was in emotional turmoil, but she couldn't explain it to him. She felt like her head would really explode. Right now, her only joy was that Han Xinyu didn't recognize her. Simultaneously, what was the worst was that Han Xinyu didn't recognize her and thought she was some other woman. Even worse, Han Xinyu's string of aggressive inquiries caused Si Yihan's eyes to frost over bit by bit and dangerously narrow. As soon as Yi Wanwan saw Si Yihan's expression, she knew things were about to go to hell. Shit. Don't, baby. I'm already in enough of a mess. Don't explode too. Yi Wanwan wanted to stop him, but it was too late. Si Yihan aloofly and disdainfully looked at the righteous and indignant man in front of him. His voice was extremely cold. "That's right. I'm dating a woman, but what right and what status do you have to question me?" Yi Wanwan covered her face and held her head. Shit, everything's done for. Han Xinyu had a face of disbelief. You're simply... He actually admitted it so boldly and didn't look apologetic or guilty at all. Bastard. As soon as Han Xinyu thought about what Yi Bai's face would look like when he learned of this and how devastated he would be, his repressed fury instantly exploded, and he swung a fist towards Si Yihan's face. When Yi Wanwan saw this, she turned pale with fright. Shit. Don't. You can hit me, but don't hit my baby's face. Si Yihan was indifferent as he stood rooted in place with not even the tiniest frown. Upon seeing Han Xinyu's fist about to land on Si Yihan's face, how could Yi Wanwan tolerate it? She shot forward like lightning and blocked Han Xinyu's fist with one hand and securely protected Si Yihan behind her. "Agio, are you okay? Are you okay?" Yi Wanwan anxiously patted Si Yihan's face and didn't relax until she saw that his skin wasn't even scratched. Si Yihan glanced down at Yi Wanwan, and his icy eyes warmed a few degrees when he saw her immensely anxious behavior. Han Xinyu was astonished that a dainty girl like her turned out to be so strong. His arm was tingling from her block. However, Han Xinyu didn't linger on this matter and coolly said, "Miss, please move." Chapter 1015. He naturally couldn't hit a woman, so he furiously looked at Si Yihan. "What kind of man are you to hide behind a woman?" Han Xinyu possessed a great sense of justice and couldn't permit any wrongdoings. It appeared he wouldn't give up easily today. Fei Yong helplessly watched as Han Xinyu caused a commotion and hastily ran over. He scrambled to put Han Xinyu's face mask back on and quietly pacified him like he was his ancestor. Damn, Xinyu, are you crazy? Quick, put it back on. Put it back on. What if you get recognized? Thankfully, the pastry shop wasn't busy right now, so no one noticed the situation there. If this got any worse, news of Han Xinyu flies into a rage and publicly beats up his lover's paramour would become tomorrow's headlines. This commotion had already attracted the attention of the store clerk. If this continued, hell would break loose. By now, Fei Yong figured out what happened for the most part. Based on Han Xinyu and that man's conversation earlier, he realized he was mistaken. He thought Han Xinyu liked this girl, but it turned out this man's legitimate girlfriend was Xinyu's friend. Xinyu was defending the real girlfriend against this transgression. How complicated indeed. The paparazzi loved this type of thing the most. It didn't matter whether the real girlfriend was platonic friends with Han Xinyu. After the media spiced things up, they would surely turn it into some love triangle or something. In truth, even he was suspicious of Han Xinyu. Han Xinyu had always been very disciplined in his actions, so it was uncharacteristic for him to act so recklessly for a regular female friend. Brother Yang, move over. Han Xinyu was truly enraged this time. He was intently staring at Si Yihan as he angrily shouted, "You wretched scum who cheated on his feelings. Didn't you ask what right I had earlier? Fine, let me tell you. He's my best friend and the most important person in my life. His business is my business. Since I found out about this, I absolutely won't stand by and do nothing." Han Xinyu was still cautious about Yi Bai's privacy, so he didn't mention his name at all. As soon as Han Xinyu finished speaking, Fei Yong was stunned. Shit, most important person? Xinyu doesn't really have something going on with that legitimate girlfriend, right? Yi Wanwan had just stopped Han Xinyu and relaxed when she heard Han Xinyu's words. Her first reaction was that she felt moved. Han Xinyu truly treated her as his best brother and friend, but she had been concealing her identity from him the whole time. Yi Wanwan's second reaction was, "I'm screwed." As expected, after hearing Han Xinyu's words, Si Yihan's relaxed expression instantly turned icy again, and his voice was rough and dangerous as he said, "Heh, is that so? Most dangerous person? Since when did someone of mine become your most important person?" Upon hearing that, Han Xinyu's anger reached its peak. "Someone of yours? How do you have the nerve to say that after doing this to him?" This man looked decent, but his character was so despicable. Yi Wanwan nearly went mad as she stood on the side. These two people were at odds and talking about two entirely different things, but they could still tear into each other. "Are you for real? Bastard. Don't tell me you want a two-time." Han Xinyu directly challenged Si Yihan in his rage. Si Yihan dryly glanced at him. "So what if I do?" "You." Han Xinyu was completely infuriated and swung another punch at him, chaos erupting everywhere again. "Damn. You two. Enough." That was the last straw for Yi Wanwan. She blocked Han Xinyu's attack again before intently staring at Han Xinyu. "Freaking Han Xinyu. Stop right there. It's me." Chapter 1016. 1016. Although Yi Wanwan still used a female voice to say that, her bright eyes and that familiar tone successfully made Han Xinyu stop. He was dumbstruck. This girl's eyes and her tone of voice. Why? Why does she remind me of Yi Bai? But this is clearly a girl. I must be crazy. What did that girl mean just now, though? Due to shock, Han Xinyu was frozen, and his mind was a bit muddled. Yi Wanwan angrily rubbed her temples. "Enough already." Yi Wanwan first looked at Si Yihan. "Agio, I need to talk to Han Xinyu. Don't give me that look. If we keep going on like this, I'll be tortured to death. Don't tell me you can bear seeing your little darling having a mental breakdown. Think about who I'm doing this for. Moreover, it was because of your extreme lack of cooperation that I got exposed." Si Yihan still looked displeased. Meanwhile, Han Xinyu and Fei Yong didn't understand her at all. Ah, fine, fine. Be good. Just 10 minutes. I knew you wouldn't bear it. Yi Wanwan laid a kiss on Si Yihan's cheeks and lavished praise upon him. Si Yihan swept his eyes over Han Xinyu. A few seconds later, he finally turned to Yi Wanwan. I'll wait for you in the car. Sure, sure. Yi Wanwan bobbed her head. Although Han Xinyu didn't understand the situation, he knew the girl must have something important to say to him. So he told Fei Yang, Brother Yang, go and wait inside the car. Huh. Fei Yang had a dazed expression. How could he allow Han Xinyu to be by himself? He immediately shook his head in disagreement. No. What would I do if you act recklessly again after I leave? Yi Wanwan glanced at Fei Yang. Don't worry, I'll look after him. Oh, well, fine then. Fei Yang met the girl's gaze as he subconsciously replied. He was promptly startled. Weird. Why did I inexplicably listen to her? He felt a mysterious sense of trust when he looked at this girl. Fei Yang said, Then I'll go. You must remain calm no matter what happens, all right? Han Xinyu nodded. Understood. After Si Yihan and Fei Yang left, only Yi Wanwan and Han Xinyu remained at last. Yi Wanwan suggested to Han Xinyu, Let's go and find a place to talk. Then she headed for the cafe across from them, and Han Xinyu automatically followed. Yi Wanwan led Han Xinyu into a quiet room. Sit, Yi Wanwan said. Han Xinyu absent-mindedly sat down across from her, and his suspicious gaze unwaveringly settled on Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan also sat down. Then she looked up and told Han Xinyu, Xinyu, it's me. I'm Yi Bai. Yi Wanwan was using a male voice. Han Xinyu, who had just sat down, instantly shot up. His face shifted drastically. You. I actually heard Yi Bai's voice from a girl? Although this was understandable from voice actors or people who knew how to voice change, it was still unimaginable for him. It was because the girl's tone of voice was extremely similar to Yi Bai's. As the matter stood, Yi Wanwan had no choice but to tell Han Xinyu the truth. Yi Wanwan assumed Yi Bai's voice and spoke again. I'm Yi Bai. Chapter 1017. When Han Xinyu heard that familiar voice coming out of the girl's mouth again, his mind turned blank. What did you say? The girl in front of him was using Yi Bai's voice and claiming she was Yi Bai. Yi Wanwan pinched the space between her brows, and she used her female voice to explain. I'm very sorry, Xinyu. I've been hiding my identity from you all this time, as well as my sex. I'm not Yi Bai or a man. I'm a woman. Han Xinyu intently stared at the girl across from him. After an infinite amount of time passed, he finally regained his voice. Miss, what in the world are you saying? Yi Wanwan continued with a serious expression. I know this is hard to believe, but it's the truth. Ninth C didn't cheat on me or two-time. The person he likes has been me the whole time. I'm Yi Bai. The girl who you saw at the theater last time was also me. That time, he kissed me to cover for me since I was afraid you would recognize me after seeing me. You are Yi Bai? Han Xinyu clutched his head, which was in a state of utter chaos. Impossible. How could this be possible? When a person was suddenly told the beautiful girl in front of him was his good brother, he couldn't immediately accept it no matter how strong he was mentally. Yi Wanwan naturally understood this. When your brother suddenly turned into a girl, any sane person would be dumbfounded. Yi Wanwan thought for a moment and took out a picture from her purse. She pushed the picture toward Han Xinyu. This is your signed photo. I took it for you just this morning and didn't have a chance to give it to my friend yet. This is your personal signature. You should recognize it. Han Xinyu took the signed photo. It was indeed the photo Yi Bai took for him that morning. On top of this, I can prove to you I'm Yi Bai however you want me to, Yi Wanwan added. Han Xinyu's mind was a mess. He was unable to think how to prove she's Yi Bai. A moment later, Han Xinyu finally calmed down and looked at the girl across from him. All right, then I'll ask you a few questions. Yi Wanwan nodded. Okay. Han Xinyu pondered over his words before saying, The first time we met, Yi Bai intruded on the board member meeting of Worldwide Entertainment without permission. Back then, No one believed me and all the top executives were ready to give me up, but he finally showed up. What did he promise? Yi Wanwan's expression didn't change at all. I promised I would get you justice within 7 days. The moment her words fell, shock flashed in Han Xinyu's eyes. Even now, only the top executives at Worldwide knew about this matter. Han Xinyu's expression shifted a few times, and he continued. After the meeting ended, in the lobby of Worldwide Entertainment, I told you regardless of your objective or reason for helping me, thank you for believing me. What did you say to me? Han Xinyu himself didn't realize that he shifted how he addressed this girl from he to you already. Yi Wanwan naturally remembered the incident, so she replied, I said, you're welcome. My friend is your fan and really likes you. Me as well. Han Xinyu distinctly remembered every single word spoken by Yi Bai that day. And the words spoken by this girl in front of him were identical to the words spoken by Yi Bai that day. Chapter 1018. 1018 Yu. It was possible for someone else to know the words spoken by Yi Bai in the conference room that day, but only Yi Bai and Han Xinyu himself knew the second answer. Hence, the girl in front of him really was? Han Xinyu involuntarily started recollecting everything that happened since he met Yi Bai. Although Yi Bai was so good-looking, there was nothing feminine about his behavior and speech, so no one suspected he was a woman. On the contrary, many girls liked him. One time, he even heard Gong Su accidentally mentioning that Shin Manju pursued Yi Bai before. How could someone like that be a woman? However, when he carefully thought about it, there were clues and signs. For example, her interactions with Mr. C. From the first time they met Mr. C and he kissed Yi Bai to declare his ownership, Yi Bai nearly exposed himself a few times. However, he never considered that Yi Bai was a woman and merely believed Yi Bai was homosexual. But now, thinking back, it explained everything. However, no matter what, finding out that your good brother was actually a woman was still too big of a shock. Faced with this beautiful and mesmerizing girl wearing a gorgeous gown in front of him, Han Xinyu was suddenly at a loss for what to do and kept sputtering, you without a clue about how to continue. Yi Wanwan quickly comforted him. Well, relax. I'm still me. I merely changed gender. It's no big deal. Han Xinyu. It's no big deal? Han Xinyu was both exasperated and amused, but the girl's familiar voice did make him relax a lot. Why did you present yourself as a man? Han Xinyu asked. Yi Wanwan sighed. Well, I should talk it out with you to explain things to you properly. After all, we've known each other for so long, but I kept deceiving you as your friend, so I was in the wrong. Han Xinyu interjected. It's no big deal really. Everyone has their way of living, so it can't be considered deceit. Whether you're male or female doesn't affect our relationship at all. Upon hearing this, Yi Wanwan was incredibly moved. As expected, little Angel Xinyu was understanding and reasonable. If this was Gong Su instead, he would make a fuss about it for at least 3 whole days. Yi Wanwan continued, anyway, I chose to dress as a man back then partially to make conducting business easier. As you know, girls are at a disadvantage in this industry, and everything is more troublesome. Han Xinyu absent-mindedly looked at Yi Wanwan's appearance in female clothes and understood. It was truly inconvenient to conduct business for girls, especially pretty girls. As for the other reason, Yi Wanwan paused briefly before saying, to tell you the truth, my partner gets jealous easily, so he vehemently disapproved of me picking this as my career. I had to wring my mind dry to come up with this solution, Han Xinyu. In his opinion, being able to brew up this solution did require very unique thinking. Han Xinyu thought about it and asked, does anyone else in the company know you're female? Yi Wanwan nodded. Yes, Felix knows. Felix? Upon hearing this, Han Xinyu was surprised. He would have thought Luo Chen knew. After all, Yi Bai had known Luo Chen the longest, whereas Felix was someone she poached to dazzling media. Yi Wanwan explained, that's right. Because Felix is my brother, my biological older brother. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.